Hi, everybody. Hello. Let's see if you guys can hear us. Okay. This is the Not So Late live stream show with Matthew Doherty from the Night Owl Chicago and Jimmy?
Yes.
Jimmy?
You forgot who I am.
Jimmy DeGeneres from the Not So Late live stream show. Hello, everybody.
And this is how we start the year.
I'm forgetting names already. I'm actually really not good at names. I'm very good at faces. It would take like a year for me to be like, okay, I know.
Right? I'm totally on that same page. Totally on that same page.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do we need to turn that?
Yeah, do we need to do something with that echo?
We're getting it. We're
Did they
getting
hear
it,
the echo?
guys. Hold on.
Do you remember the echo on the baby here?
Oh.
Oh, actually, we can turn this down. That's why.
Okay. So we're just-
I was just thinking, today, I consider myself. I like you. No. Ran on.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, now we're good.
No. Yeah, did you have to jump through like rings and.
Yeah, and you use sonar to like find your ways through the ocean.
Well, I mean, that's what people were actually doing when they were like clicking and stuff. Remember when they do those clicking sounds?
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what it's like. All right, so speaking of dolphins, do you guys know about dolphin people?
Dolphin people.
So check. All right, so they're not called that, but check this shit out. In like the Philippines and some other area near there, they're what's known as like water nomads, right? Water nomads. They're like desert nomads, but they live on fucking boats. And for like however many generations they've been doing this, they hunt fish with spears in the water. And over generations of breeding and diving and holding their breath, their gallbladders have evolved differently. They can hold their breath longer than the average human for an extended period of time. And they're basically like mermaid people. You know what I mean? Because like for hundreds of generations, these people have evolved to hunt for their food underwater as they just live a water nomadic life.
That.
It's crazy. I don't know the specific. In fact, do you want to look it up right now? Since you have the pewter. I think they're called like water nomads.
I mean, I
Water
remember
nomads?
reading a-
Yeah, I saw a TikTok video of it and I started looking at it. It's a tribe in the Philippines and there's like another tribe that's
Did they make a doc on it? I think they might have made a doc.
but it's cool footage.
Well,
video.
I can remember, I don't know what age I was reading a story
It
about
says it's a brand, but I
pearl
don't know.
divers and tribes that kind
Water
of
nomad.
did that exactly, that deep sea type diving and how that is learned.
Do they just know how to hold their breath for a long
Yeah,
time?
they have homemade goggles they make. And they legit craft their own spears and they jump on. There's videos of these dudes and like their speedos and their goggles and they're in the water with spears.
Yeah, so they're like people who basically.
Fucking hunting fish and stuff.
I'm gonna share it with everyone. So
Yeah, did you find it?
I did. I found some sort of website that I think they're kind of referring to what they are, and
I do know that there's like a tribe Philippines that does it.
and I think you can probably kind of be a part of it if you wanted to.
You
So it kind of
being
shows
water
you. Well, it
nomad?
shows you where to like find those people. Like if you wanted to join, I guess.
Yeah, let's show it up and check it out.
Okay. Let's see.
But it's crazy watching these people like fish.
Water nomads. It's like Avatar. I mean, when I saw the Avatar movie, like the spoiler alert, I guess the ground, Avatar, they're used to being in the forest, and they ran into a tribe that was ocean based. So they definitely look different, and they had to kind of adapt to like how to swim and how to hold your breath and how to fit. Like they're smaller than the normal. They're way smaller than them. Like if you look at the movie like Moana, they're all bigger. They can they're stronger. They can be in the ocean,
They're called I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's BAJAU people.
BEJAU people. Okay, sea nomads. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like, water nomads keeps coming up as like a company, and I'm like, this isn't right.
And to be fair, I've been drinking a little, and
It says the Far Eastern Sea Nomads, unlike
And we're not
other
talking
humans.
about Waterworld. I mean, this actually exists.
I love that. I love that movie.
Ah!
I love that movie, and I was actually thinking of The Postman the other day, which is people. If you don't know The Postman, it's Waterworld on land, and it's about postmen.
People probably would prefer the Post. I love Waterworld too. I mean, I remember going to see that in the theater with my old man. I mean, that was, quite a production.
Let's see. Can we still see this? Oh, okay. Let me see if I can share this then.
All right. So did you end up finding those nomadic tribesmen?
Yeah, let me share one. I found an article about it, which is weird because you know that you're gonna find articles and then people are just gonna be like, oh, they're just like fantasy writing, and it's like, no, it's not. This is real shit.
Well, I saw it on a TikTok and then I just kind of researched it.
This be some real shit right now.
But I know there's
the Baju people. Do you see it on your screen on camera 2 here?
I see.
See us.
See us. Let's see us moving in one and us not moving in another.
Well, I think this is interesting actually. It says that they came from Southeast Asia, which I would think isn't that where everyone kind of came from?
Yeah, I feel like
It's
that makes
like,
sense.
Yeah. Hold on, we're getting color wheel, so we just have to sit tight for a second.
For sure. Well, anyway, while we're sitting tight, let's catch up a little.
It's been a minute.
It has. When was the last time we did the show? What was it, in October?
Yeah, because then you would like go to a wedding, or you had to go to the wedding and stuff, right?
Yeah, I went to the wedding and then I started training with the company I work for.
Okay. That's pretty sweet.
You dig.
And you like, yeah, you like it. Yeah, you're gonna get your new digs now. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, and the attire that I'm wearing is definitely the attire I wear at work.
Oh, very nice.
I usually don't wear the jacket.
Okay, do you want me to take your jacket?
Yeah, I'll take off my jacket. I've been extensively buying colored suspenders, so now I have suspenders that have been matching my outfits, as well as I bought some gauge plugs that are all different colors.
Do I keep yours on?
Keep mine on.
Yeah.
New year, new
I'm gonna
me.
I mean, Matthew's always gonna be there. He's not gonna.
Not as fancy.
Let's be
The best thing about
Which is
me.
fine. Yeah, exactly. Jimmy's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? We're talking shit.
Speaking of employment, you guys were asking me questions earlier before we started.
Oh yeah. New job.
Asking me how we cook. You asked me, do I hear the lobsters screaming?
Yes, you were seafood.
So I wanted to tell you guys, and I figured we'd say it for the podcast. So when I was training for the seafood restaurant I was working at, I think like day 2 or day 3, the kitchen manager comes over and he's holding the lobster. And he's like, hey, training, you want to see how we kill a lobster? And I was like super excited for it. I was like, hell yeah, this seems like it would be awesome. I was like, cool. I was like, it's not like a puppy or a kitten or anything. I eat them. It's not going to be
you're right.
But it's humane.
Unless they're in a salad.
Or if you started suddenly eating a cat and a dog,
that would be fine too. And then as we're walking back, like, oh, maybe we have to kill them. We can't just throw them in the pot. There's regulations. And so what he did is he put it in the 3-compartment sink. And he's like, what you do is you take a knife and you put it right on the back of the shell of their head. You just jam it straight through. And that cuts all the nerve endings to their brain. And it still has, like, twitch responses, you know what I mean? Like just natural responses.
Kind of like cutting the head off a chicken, but it quite leaving a little bit of the head on the chicken.
Yeah, so it just kills off that nerve stem, but their body still convulses. And it kind of sucks too because I'm like he just quickly like stabbed it in the head. It's kind of convulsing. He flipped it over.
You guys
cut it down the middle, split it open, and ripped out the guts. And it's still, like, it's dead, but it's responsively convulsing.
They're all called Sebastian.
And then he's, like, explaining it to me, and he's like, and then you throw it in the lobster pot. And I was like, I was like, I feel bad. And I was like, this was not as fun and educational as I thought it was going to be, and I feel a little bad.
Well,
and I was, and I don't kill
that.
any lobsters. I bring them straight back.
But
to the
how did
kitchen.
you think it was going to be like in any way possible? You're still killing it.
Well, I thought it was just going to die. I wasn't expecting the convulsing.
Well, I mean, but
I'm
that's
sure
but people
that was a
actually
bit
humans
dramatic.
convulse long after they're dead.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
it's,
okay.
But it's like my
But you're
new
seeing it and you've
twitches.
never seen it, and it's new. It's a
like
new
that,
experience.
crustacean
You'll
like
see it
that.
again. You'll be fine. You'll be
I mean,
fine.
pretty much now on, I just grab the lobster,
But-
bring it in the back kitchen, and I'm just like, here you go, I'll bring it out. You guys
Think of it this way: when I went to
I mean-
Maine, and I actually when I went to Maine, and I actually saw they brought out the lobster with the head still there, and
Yeah.
it was looking at you. It changed my view of lobster after that forever. I can't even really even eat octopus. I can't see when it's like a fully like thing it's just weird. It's like
So-
anything with tentacles too. It's like I don't understand. I don't know. They're
So
just like
here's,
I can't eat that.
here's what's really I still
But you guys, we have to force quit everything. So we All right, so we're adding this one,
Okay.
and then I'm muting that. So you're going to be using this mic,
Okay.
and I'm going to get Matt's phone, and I'm going to log on to his so I can just hear it as it's going. I found your phone, Matthew. Over here.
Oh yeah, right there.
Hi, Beanbag. And let me feed her real quick, and then we.
For sure.
I'll feed you, bitch. You hungry? You hungry? I'm hungry. Happy.
Today.
Yes, you did. You did a good job. You did a good job.
Yeah.
I bet your cats are
That's
gonna
an
listen to
awesome
these. They
notice.
have like their own like area now.
Little.
That's awesome. I like that.
Oh, Little Mermaid would have been a little different. And then the seafood
What happened?
restaurant.
Let's go again. I said
Absolutely.
your cats are gonna be super happy now with your new place.
Well, I'm gonna move in. I think May now.
Yeah, that's what I told Matthew that you were.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be January, but then my brother ended up. He got this new job, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna extend my lease for a little bit." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." I was like, "I'm not, you know." I was like, I can always renew my lease. It's not no problem."
I know.
Are we live again?
I'm gonna look it up on here so I can follow. So I'm wondering if I can do this.
So you're still on the south side then?
I am still on the south side currently, anyways. Currently, but it's fine. Like I said, sometime in May, my brother will end up getting his own house, and then I'll move into where he's at.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
In September, I'm going to go to the Philippines.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I got my plane ticket already.
Oh,
Renewed my
really? Boy,
passport.
you are set to go. Then very nice.
Pretty much, I just got to book my hotel, and I'm going to do that next month.
You have plans out there then? What to do? What you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to Manila, which is their capital island. I'm going to get a hotel in the downtown area. I'm going to check out the museums and their parks and their zoos.
Karaoke bar.
Definitely gonna
Hey,
karaoke.
You better bet. that.
Definitely going to karaoke.
It used to be very, very cheap alcohol there.
Yeah.
Or beer.
Overall, it's cheap. The conversion rate's amazing.
Yeah.
The dollar goes such a long way. And on top of that, like, I'm going to visit a girl I've been talking to. I'm going to go visit her. She's probably going to be tuning into this whenever it starts.
All right.
Or restarts, I guess. And then I'm going to check out some Masonic temple. Dope.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
All right.
We're back, but you know we were still broadcasting. Everything was good, so we can just pick it up from where we left off. I think we were talking about the lobster.
Oh yeah, we were talking
And
about putting
how
down
you
the
feel now
lobster
about it?
and
Yeah.
how I feel
Yeah.
utterly defeated.
Would
as a
you
human being.
have gone about it a different way, knowing that now, or would you still have been naive to it?
I mean, I still need to learn it. At some point in time, I might have to do it. So I'm like glad I learned it. I just thought it was going to be like funner than it was, but not in the sense of fun.
Just
But
kind
in
of
the
just
sense of, like,
interesting curiosity.
Well, yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
well, this is a job. This is what I'm required to know.
You
I'm
probably should
curious,
know. What if
you
what
know?
if someone asked you that?
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm super curious about it. You know what I mean? I was like, cool, this is gonna be great. And then it happened, and I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna do
I'm
that.
really surprised they don't have something similar to what they do with cattle, and that there's an automatic kind of like a puncher.
Well, see, here's the thing: it is a crustacean. It is an insect. It has an exoskeleton.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to serve it as food, if you had a puncher, you would decimate that shell. You know what I mean? Like high pressure compression going into the skull would damage the meat, and it would just bust out.
I'm kind of
its entire
surprised.
head.
This, I guess, then is it fairly difficult or is it fairly easy then with the
knife.
the utensil that you use to
It's
be able to pierce?
pretty quick. It's just like a quick like crack straight through, and then it's just dead, and then they gut it and they either split and steam it or they split stuff.
I mean, honestly,
No, you can't actually. And I've been researching into lobsters because of Jordan Peterson and getting a job in the food industry. So you can't kill them and store them because once you kill a lobster, it starts just secreting toxins.
Yes, it starts to it starts to break down and
it's
decompromise.
Very
and
bad for
toxins,
anyone ingesting that. In fact, if a lobster dies in the tank, we need to remove it immediately because those toxins will kill every other lobster.
It's just like how your body
in the tank.
smells things. Yeah.
I did not know that part. I'm fully aware that, I mean, that's obviously why if you go to a seafood restaurant and they're serving lobster, that's why they're live in the tank. Because it's not like chicken or beef that you can kind of do that.
Store,
with.
Yeah,
I mean, the
structure's
toxins
completely different.
that are happening when they're breaking down, and
But I mean, it's crazy on how intelligent lobsters are. Lobsters live for a really long time. Like a 3-pound lobster is like 40 fucking years old. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, really?
Like, and when I started working there, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do like what Homer did in that episode. I'm gonna get a lobster and just raise it to be big. So in order for the lobster, and in order for the lobster, that episode took a minimum of 40 years. That whole episode took a span of 40 years because that's how long it would have taken for that lobster to get to that size. You know, 40 to 70 years. If it was a 3-pound lobster, 40 years.
Okay, so like here's a question: Do we eat more things from the ocean or the sea? Because the seas are smaller, right?
I think it more depends on where you are.
And there's more just
water.
deposits
You don't
and
really
stuff,
think of it
mineral
like that.
rich.
No, you think
seas are more like mineral.
No, think of it more like
I thought
saltwater
oceans
versus
were.
fresh water.
I feel like a lot of our fish are farmed from like the Atlantic Ocean. I feel like that's a brunt of where our fish is probably farmed from.
But what about like the exotic stuff?
Well, I mean, of course, you're probably going to get that somewhere in the Oriental areas or like
where
South
Where
America.
those mer people were.
Well, exactly. Because you're
Right.
gonna find that.
They probably eat the best shit.
Oh, so
They
here's
eat
the thing.
Best shit if they can breathe like that and hold their breath.
Just hold their breath for like I swear I think they can hold their breath for like 10 minutes or some ridiculous inhuman superpower ability.
But that would make sense if
it does.
If that's what you.
But hundreds of years of these people doing like crazy
rafts in the ocean, especially deep diving within the ocean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it? I was just telling Matt before we went back live that I'm going on vacation to the Philippines. I have been talking to a girl there, and we talk regularly. And she'll literally be like, "Oh, what'd you have for lunch today?" And she'll be like, "Oh, fish." And then she'll look at the translation, which I feel like she's always eating some brand new fish. Some brand new fish. You know, her brother will just bring her some fish and rice or whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I bet it's like great. I mean, that's actually what I'm really looking forward to going there is trying the food because the Philippines was conquered by the Spanish and then later colonized by the Americans. So you've got this Mexican culture and this Asian culture. So you just have like two of the best fucking foods, just like bam, there. We got spicy, we've got flavorful.
If I can divulge a little bit in a secret, it's the one thing that I do miss. So full disclosure, I have been married before.
Okay.
So my first wife, her dad, his third wife was from the Philippines.
Okay.
And, I will just say this, people on the outside, you can't judge a book by their cover, because people would look at them and go, oh, huh? Because there was a little bit of a discrepancy. But, man, they love for dirt bike racing.
Okay. Yeah. I love that that's how some people met.
So they met on this weird message board, and that's how they started. It wasn't anything weird. The next thing you know, he's going over there, and we were all set. Eventually, the plan was to go over there and meet her parents. And I wish we would have, because it would have been an awesome time.
Yeah,
we knew about the bars.
I told him, I was like, man, I would have
I
totally would have done that.
Cheap it would have been.
It still is cheap. It's so affordable. I was looking into it.
I mean, she had lovely parents. I mean, the thing that I remember is she had multiple degrees. But when she came to the U.S., she started out in a hospital, I don't want to say mopping floors, but something similar to that. And no, that was way beneath.
And it's crazy because the college level education in the Philippines is at the same percent as in America. So the amount of people going to college and getting educated in the Philippines is the same as America. So it's not like they're not educated. My ex-girlfriend was from Venezuela, and they escaped her and her family right before they just went full socialist, and the
wow, that's actually pretty dope.
But when her dad was like a manager for the national banking system. Her mom worked in human resources, and she at 22, 23 years old was a general physician. And then her and her sister and her mother and dad move up here to be a food prep and dishwasher and morning cleaning crew for a major corporation. And it's just it's so brutal to think that it's just it's a shame that there's not a way. It's a shame that you I understand health standards are different in different countries, but it's a shame that you can't jump into another country and be like, hey, I'm in America now. Let me take some sort of aptitude test and fill in the gaps where I'm not qualified.
Immediately.
You know what I mean? Because what would that be? Maybe 4, max 6 years. Do that.
We should be doing them because we're completely like I said, it just felt so weird. Underutilizing her. I mean, okay, yeah, because you could definitely do all of that and more, but it's just I can.
What are we talking about?
I'm still talking about my.
In general, we've kind of moved the topic from his ex-wife's father.
I figured we were kind of merging onto the Goldback thing.
So now we're kind of talking about the education level via the U.S. level, and then that kind of shifted into having degrees in a foreign country and coming to America.
I have a couple of the links you shared, and the ones I pulled were the collective security treaty, and then the Goldback one in the UK school.
So I'm down to talk about both of the Goldback.
I figured the Goldback we could segue because that's kind of an interesting.
Okay. So
it's not as political, but it's definitely interesting.
So it is kind of, this is kind of like non-side political.
Currency's kind of not though. It's it was just it started with bartering. We
commercial.
Well, all right.
We just put a God on it and we put a pyramid and then something cool.
The current American system is based off of debt and the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is in no way attached to America. It's not an American institution. It is a private independent company that prints money for the U.S. on a debtor system.
I'm going to share it so you should be able to see it on the screen.
And this is the Goldbacks?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 states, New Hampshire, Utah, Wyoming, and Nevada. 4 states are now printing their own currency through one company called Goldbacks. So one company exists in these 4 states. It's a recognized currency in that state. And some small businesses are also taking it in terms of barter.
and it's constitutionally legal. This is technically what like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, they wanted the government and the states to print their own money. The reason the Federal Reserve exists is so when America first gained independence, Britain kind of still maintained control of us because since we were a brand new country, we didn't have money, we didn't have whatever. So there was a bank system set over from Britain to run like the Federal Reserve. And Thomas Jefferson decimated the Federal Reserve, causing the War of 1812, I believe, which is the second British invasion, because basically they were like, we run your banking system, and Thomas Jefferson was like, fuck you, we can run our own banking system by the Constitution, government, and the states. And that started that war, and then that ended up breaking apart. And Thomas Jefferson is one of the guys that like really pushed for us getting our deficit down and printing our own money based on our own resources. Somewhere later, we went on the gold standard, which means our money was backed by gold. So the amount of gold we had based on the money we pressed. And then later, we turned into money backed by oil, where we signed pacts with various Middle Eastern countries, where if you wanted to purchase oil, you had to convert your money to USD. So any country that wanted to purchase oil from specific countries in the Middle East had to convert their money to USD to oil. And as of lately, a lot of countries have disbanded that during the Afghan-Iraq war, as well as Syria just signed a pact with Russia, Kazakhstan, I believe Turkmenistan, and China to now use the Chinese currency in Syria to purchase oil. So we just lost that contract with them as well, which means gas prices are probably going to skyrocket.
So it's like basically like kind of acts like currency.
So right now we're solely running off of debt, and we don't have the bodies to keep accumulating this debt. We keep deferring our debt as a country. Now, what these 4 states started doing is
I'm showing the average exchange rate.
So yeah, so they've started pressing their own money. So this money is actual gold. It's gold foils, pressed gold foils. The single is 1/1000th 24 karat gold. The 5 is 1/500th 24 karat gold. The 10 is 1/100th, I believe. The 25 is 1/50th, and the 50 is 1/20th.
Oh, it says
24 karat gold.
It says it says 30 days. It'd be 390.
So
at December, and then up to January this year, it's been steady and kind of climbing.
Yeah, these started
6 months is different.
2019. These, what is it? Wyoming is the newest state to jump on the bandwagon.
April was the median. April was the
shows,
median of all time. April's been the median.
But if you look at this,
it's
actual pressed gold, like pressed gold. So I mean, at the end of the day, regardless if this company goes under, you have gold. You can melt that down. And I bought $118 in gold bags. Actually, I bought one single from every state, 1/5, and then 1/10 from a random state. I bought it off of a website that was selling them about 10 cents under market price. It was the only site I saw that was doing it that well, so I scooped that up immediately. In the week I went back to purchase more, everything had been sold out, but like the higher increments of bills or whatever.
Oh, I can see that.
Because within the 2 weeks,
it's better than crypto. I mean, this is like physical.
Well, it's tangible, physical.
And
it doesn't depreciate.
Exactly. Gold has always gone up. Gold in 2000 per ounce was $1,200. Today, the running rate of gold per ounce is $1,800.
That's the thing. The only reason why I've never gotten crypto, and a lot of my friends are like, "Oh, you're like," they think it's kind of like right sliding, where it's like you can't regulate it. I don't like it. You can't regulate. I don't care who's doing it. I just want it to be regulated and counted.
I think it's just so what a coincidence. Earlier today, I saw a commercial. Right, it was like if this person would have had $12,000 worth of gold back in something like 1970, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Currently today, if they had put it all in gold, it'd be like 100,000.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But, I mean, gold will always go up. It's a precious metal.
Yes,
it's always highly sought.
Metal.
So I bought it thinking like, hey, I lost about 4 G's in crypto. I'm holding on to that crypto. I'm not selling it at a loss. If it takes 20 years to break even, it takes 20 years to break even. But when I bought this, I was like, well, it's gold. if this company goes under, I'm like, hey, I have 4 bills pressed from each 4 states. Little collector's item. It was limited press. This company lasted for X to X. Or at the absolute very least, I can melt that down into whatever bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I just have gold. So I purchased those, and literally within the first 2 weeks of purchasing them, getting them 10 cents under current market value, they went up 40 cents. So I bought them at $3.48, and I believe the current rate right now is $3.90 or $3.91. But the cool thing about these goldbacks is they're very informative. I went on their website.
I'll put the link in the comments so people can see if they want to go to it.
Check it out. Do your research.
I usually like putting, like, I know I do it with you guys, but I usually like putting our sort resources because we're not hiding anything. We're not hiding it. We want you to be in on it. We want you to be. I just think that crypto is so weird and complicated because it's like I'm glad there are things that are coming to this bad dark place that I never was like, I'm going to join this company or fill in the blank. And then I come to find out, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I never did because now it's a shit show.
Yeah.
Or like the NFTs and the fucking, tic-tac-toes. I don't know. Like I used to sell NFTs before it was an NFT. Like I was digitizing my photography and selling it just because I wanted to try and branch out.
Yeah.
And I was doing it on a website where you can design anything and put your logo on it. It's like Teespring or something. So you can put whatever you want. They don't care. Like they'll do it for you, and then they send it to you, and they give you a sample. And it's just thoughtful advertising, thoughtful, easy to use.
Yeah.
Like I like stuff like that. And the Goldback looks like that.
But no,
it
they're
looks
really
like
cool.
they're just like, here, this is what it does, and
Exactly.
you don't have to do it if you don't want to.
And
It's real. You can touch it. Like
exactly. When you go to the website, it shows you the current value, and then there's even a Goldback calculator. So if you're at establishment and you're going to pay for it, you know what I mean? Like you can be like, here's the current value, here's the value of your product. This is how many Goldbacks that I need to give you with this remaining dollar amount left over and things like that. So it's really helpful. And I had some questions, so I went on there like common ask questions, and I want to say that I think a little bit more outside the box than the average person. So like there are certain things I wanted to know, like immediately, how can you earn currently Goldbacks as an income versus USD? Are there any employers giving out Goldbacks instead of USD?
Yeah.
Are there banks that allow for account holding of Goldback, as well as are there Goldback ATMs? As well as things like that. So I emailed them and I sent them a message, and I got a response within the first 2 days. And it was literally someone like, hey, I don't really have the answers to these questions, but I can point you in the right direction of the right person. So I either spoke with one of the top executives or creators or company president or the guy who runs everything. I talked to someone really high in the food chain.
Really?
The guy made a point to send me an email and give me a call. And he was like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about these questions you had. He's like, right now, some banks do certain holdings for Goldbacks. Because I was thinking outside of the safety deposit box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I was to deposit a Goldback, how would that work or whatever? So he did say that, yeah, certain banks do certain holdings in the states that accept it. Right now, there are no companies that are offering it as a form of payment. Right now, it's in personal trade through distribution sites. You can buy them through collectors' websites. Right now, they don't issue their own money from directly them yet, but they are working with ATMs. And they are working on continuing to find other states
Are we doing
that are
bubbles?
interested in getting into this.
I mean,
I have the
Bitcoin's
same
gotten
ones.
there.
So I even asked him if they were a public or private trading company. And he was like, right now we're a private company. He's like, our shares are for the most part really tied up. But I mean, like, if you'd like to work with us and we talk or whatever, he basically like gave me a thing that like, well, if we remain in communication and, we talk a little, there might be, an opportunity for private investment and stuff like that. So like, I wouldn't mind throwing a few hundred, maybe a few $1,000s into this company to kind of help them out. Because I like the concept idea, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's gold. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what happens and what's said and done,
They get all
I mean,
50 states
isn't
that
it-
have an alternate currency. They
Isn't it always
collapse in 5
fluctuating
years.
between like it's popular, we need it, and then we're like, it's all right. Like you can still give it to
It's
us.
still a precious metal
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
And
It's
that's
weird.
what it is.
And
It's
diamonds
a
are like
precious
take
metal.
so long to make, and it's just so
Yeah, but
pointless.
Well, you can make lab created diamonds.
Yeah. I've
Those-
seen those billboards around here.
Just like
Lab
making
you-
lab
you can-
created. If you
they're
can make it
slightly
with meat,
cheaper.
you can make it with diamonds.
but yeah, but
That's a good advertising
but I-
slogan.
I just thought it was really cool about these gold backs. And like I said, I did purchase some. I did do my research, and from everything that I've seen, you go to the website, they give you all the information. It's actual gold. I got it, and I even bought money slips, dollar slips, like card holders, but for money. And I've got all my gold backs in those because I also collect old money.
which is very collectible.
And I collect like any coin pre 1970 has an amount of silver in it.
Yes.
And I recently found out that the 1964 quarter has $4 worth of silver in it. To melt that down and sell it is more to use it than to actually use it as currency. So I've got a bunch of like quarters and nickels and dimes from the 60s. On top of that, I have physical paper money. I have about $230 in old money. A lot of them are from the 90s. A few of them are from the 80s. I have one $10 bill from 1934. And you know what? If you could look up a current bill in general,
Okay.
a $10 bill, and then also look up an image of a 1934 bill. Now, when you look at
1984.
no,
1934. 1934.
So you want me to look
How
up
is
the
that
current
graded
one
out?
versus
Near
that?
mint?
Yes.
Mint?
Okay.
and then show them them, but I'm also
Near
gonna
mint.
Are you
show
gonna
you
do a
this.
music trick
So
right now?
A minty?
so you see how it
So I'll
says
just- want me
this
just to
note is
share my
legal
Google-
tender for all debts, public and private.
Yes.
So there's a paragraph on the $10 bill.
Okay.
There's a paragraph. There's more acceptance on
More
that.
than one.
Can you see it on your screen?
I can see kind of stuff. So can you click on the new bill?
New $10?
Yeah, look at the new $10.
Okay.
So click on it and then go into that left corner where it says this bill is legal tender.
Look at that.
You see that right there?
Look at that.
On the bottom under the emblem right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you see
Right
that? So when you read that,
Look at that.
it says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Now pull up the old $10 bill, and it's going to be in that same area, but the top.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
$10
Push
bill
the couch back.
image.
So go to.
I don't know if I can find. Let's do.
1934.
Actually,
look
let's do like let's be more exact.
1934 $10
Because
bill.
I'm sure
Look up that
shit-
one
I'm sure
specifically.
shit hasn't changed again.
So click on one of those images.
Let's do this one.
Old money.
Yeah.
Wait, what the fuck?
That's
$100 bill, y'all. Why can't I just
No.
like click
What's-
on the image?
What's the? I don't know.
There's no images available. Like, this is fine, right?
It's ghost
Yeah, as long as we can read it
Someone
on
in
that
Boston.
corner.
It's ghost
This
money.
is someone in Boston. So here they even have a little zoom thing, so we can use this
All right.
to look at it. It's not in there, is it?
What?
No,
I can't see what you're
there's a
looking
bunch
at.
of little
Are you
images
going
right
through
there.
stuff?
Yeah, it's behind.
So I was gonna
That's fine.
say it's like frozen on here.
Let me get rid of some things. That's probably why.
Oh, it's us.
Hello. All right.
Let me just go back to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Old money, new money.
Old money, new money, old money. I mean, really, like, isn't it just paper? I don't know.
No, it's actually a fabric.
No.
It's actually
Yes.
a fabric.
It is?
Yeah,
Is
there's
it
a-
hemp?
There's a
Is it
cot.
hemp?
There's a.
Those threads.
At one point in time, I think our money was made out of hemp, but it does have like.
Or
Remember
like
the
not
red
peppers,
and
but like
blue
hemp is
threads?
like our
That's
pepper.
how you
know
know
Yeah.
it's real money.
the old school.
Threads. You can tell by the red and blue
Alright.
threads.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's weird that I have to click on it so many times. Okay, let's see.
No.
Is this the old one right here?
Yeah, is it 1934?
1934.
Or
Okay.
can you pull it up over here?
Yeah, let me share it.
And then
Yeah,
go in
share it.
that same corner.
Goddamn share it. and see if it's up there.
Well, it is there, but there's significantly more. So if you look, see how there's like a paragraph there. Can you get closer? So it says,
Oh, wow.
This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank.
That's a goddamn mouthful.
So you see how much was omitted from our original money.
Well, I mean, because that must have been printed out right there before the time they could have exchanged.
I'll do that. I think. Well,
okay. So I believe
I'll
probably.
share this with everybody too.
So I think I saw a video that said 1936 is when they got rid of that. And I don't really remember why, but I just think it's interesting that when I look at that one bill compared to all my others,
because I think it was like 1933 or 1932, right, when the federal government basically said it was illegal to own.
No. So they did that during the war efforts and during to rebuild the economy,
right?
It's the same like picture. I mean, even like. Kind of the design looks different too, like off to the side here.
Yeah,
it's slightly different, and it's more like contrasted and like bolded. The double outlined, font, and I mean they really wanted to make sure it was like legit.
Exactly.
But like now you could fake that, and people would still you could fake the old ones for sure.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how like. I mean, haven't we watched stuff like that where it's like,
so I'm glad
they're just gonna take all the dirty money.
I'm glad that you said that too, because one of my old
counterfeit, but it's a washed counterfeit. So washing was a Chicago counterfeiting thing, and what washing is you took like a dollar bill, and you got all the ink off of that dollar bill, and then you pressed a larger print bill on that paper.
Really?
So that's how washing was done. Once you remove the ink, you could press it. It was still still the currency.
Yeah.
It was still a bill.
It was just kind of like a blank slate almost, but with like the outlines.
And one of my buddies actually had gotten that as change from a bank. And I saw that he had that old 5, and I was like, I'll buy that off you. Dollar for dollar trade. Because anytime I see old money, I'm like, oh, I want it. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I like about working in the service industry is I handle so much money that occasionally I come across old coins, old money. So
it's so nice, especially dollar coins. The dollar coins are nice to have.
So I went on a date later that night, and unfortunately I needed money for a tip or whatever. So I only have that 5. I put that 5 down. The bartender went away. I'm talking to my date or whatever. Bartender comes over like 5 to 7 minutes later, and he's like, "Hey, I can't accept this. It's actually a counterfeit bill." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is an old method of washing." And it was like a 1981 or a 1985 or whatever. So it wasn't It was an old bill. It was an old washed bill that had been circulating since the 80s.
Wow.
This bartender just figured out now. Like I want to say 7, maybe 8 years ago. And he was like, he's like, here's where I can show you the difference. The 5 is slightly larger. The image of the halo around Lincoln is like obscured and not exactly centered. It's slightly off in the most minute amount or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's fucking cool. I'll use my card, but I'm still going to keep this washed bill because it's not only old money, it's an old counterfeit bill.
Exactly.
So
hey, money, make money, money.
That's worth something somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of history. We can't wash bills anymore. No one does that.
I mean, what if we... I don't know, like where do they take the old? They just burn it, right?
Yeah,
the
they
old shit.
Burn them.
And like, but isn't that like kind of like burning the flag? Like I don't know.
Well,
no.
technically burning the flag.
Like isn't money like held to a standard like the flag in that similar way? And like, so we would never burn it. But although we wouldn't go to jail, right?
Yeah. Well, here's
so like if I took my money, I could burn it.
I'm
so
sorry,
like, how is that different?
That's actually what they shred it.
Does that make any sense? I don't know.
They shred it and they sell it.
and this is a real thing. This is a real thing, and I totally, now that you say this, I remember this. They shred old money to like little bits, like confetti.
Okay.
And you can actually go to, I believe, federal government or Federal Reserve websites or something like that, and for like $5, you can buy a bag of like shredded old bills because it's useless. They make a little bit of a profit off it, and you're like, oh, I have a fucking bag full of confetti money. And funny enough, I went to a antique store in Indiana.
They have
a friend.
Them in Wisconsin got good antique stores.
They really do. I found.
They're not joking around. You know what I mean? They're like, here's some stuff from some dead people in here. This guy's been places. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful china, beautiful tea sets. I went into one area where they kept all the DVDs and all the VHSs and any action figures. And bro, someone who had died had like a slew. I mean, a fucking slew of Star Trek: The Next Generation action figures, all in their boxes.
I'm gonna say
have Locutus of Borg.
I'm gonna say this is gonna be hidden treasure.
I bought one of them. I bought Admiral Leonard McCoy.
That's a rarity. That had to be a rare one. What is the fucking likelihood of something like that?
Yeah, but it was just so random. Like they even had a Picard. They had
Jean-Luc.
They had Riker's a beaming twin or whatever that split off from him in those few episodes. But like the joke, there was like just a slew of them, and I was like, I could spend so much money, but I'm gonna pick one. That's it, and leave. Like, but it was an amazing place. I also bought some Tom Collins tumblers from the '60s, and they're political spoof tumblers.
Really?
3 of them have the elephant. 3 of them have the donkey, and I believe the donkey one says wear a shoe in, and the elephant ones, the Republican one said there's no way. Something like that. And I was like, this is cheeky, this is adorable, and I would totally like have a cocktail party with these. Because
the hidden treasure stories, like there's a couple. There's actually a place, but I don't know if you know where Hairpin Art Center is, but it's like a space where like artists can come and like showcase their work, and it's non for profit.
That's cool.
And across from there's a comic book store, but it's also like rare findings from this guy who literally like collected shit since he was a kid. Not like, oh, I collect stuff from the 80s and I'm like, now I'm like older, like over time, like probably not thinking he would sell any of it.
Yeah.
Just accumulating and like the best, like, and I wouldn't even say he's a hoarder because it's like maybe just a sentimental. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Maybe he just really loves comics.
It's right across from it. And then they have like they even have like you have to go around there. That's okay. They even have the mini golf, like golf, like grass.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
like so
I got you.
That kind of feel, and then there's just like shelves and like cool displays of just like random stuff, and you don't want to leave because you just keep seeing stuff that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting hit with like nostalgia everywhere I turn. And then I think he used to have like a mini golf type thing there, which is why he had the grass,
the felt or whatever.
Every time, and then they have action figures. He has everything. I don't think he has instruments, but it's definitely like games, books. You know, anything collectible, nice. And then kind of like stuff you'd see at Urban Outfitters where it's like, you know, the tacky stuff you keep in your bathroom or whatever. But it's right. I think it's in Humboldt Park or Logan Square.
That's pretty awesome.
And he takes up a corner, so it's like
his own little area.
Yeah, you look through the window and you're like, I see something. I'm going it like it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I remember buying something. I bought a dragons book. My nephew gave it back to me, but we got this book about dragons, and it's like made so that it's kind of real. Like if they were real, this is what they look like. This is what they like with how they're personality is.
You know, they
if you're
might
actually
be
looking for a real, I think they're real. That's another story.
Well, here's the thing.
But that's where I got that there. I was like, how did you get this? And he's like, I got this from an estate sale. And I'm like,
I was watching a snip from a Joe Rogan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy talking about
that's
how
where I got that dragon book from
dragons
Walker.
may have existed.
Yeah. I don't think that they blew fire, but they definitely were animals that like flew.
Yeah.
And maybe they're so big that it seemed like their breath was hot.
That
it's
could
such
totally
a big,
be a thing.
It's a big creature, but it would need a lot of sunlight, right? It would need to bathe, like sunbathe somewhere because it's a lizard, so it needs to be warm.
Yeah.
So they would never be they would never live in the north. Of course, they live in the south.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones.
You also got to think
They came from like the desert, like the center of the earth. Like they never came from the north side. They came from like Khaleesi was
close to the equator.
So that's kind of like, are they saying what? Maybe it's true. I don't know. I mean, why do we know this? Why do we know this?
So back on the topic of currency, going from gold back.
A bill was just passed in the House about defunding the IRS. The Republicans brought this up to countermand the money that the IRS just got. And the objective is to fire 187,000 agents that were just hired to audit heavy. Which I'm cool with this idea. I like the idea of firing a bunch of people who are just going to go through everyone's fucking life with a tooth and comb or whatever. But they're also going to. I believe it still has to pass the Senate, which it probably won't. I don't know if the Senate's Democrat. If it is, it's not going to pass.
No,
that's
it's
how
not.
it works,
Unfortunately,
you know what I mean?
Unfortunately, even though it is a democracy,
it
started that way. It started that way, and then the dinosaurs decided to change their minds.
It'd be really great to do that, but I believe that same individual is proposing a bill for the consumption tax, which we were talking about this earlier. I'm kind of on board, but the way that it's set up, I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
So look up while I'm explaining this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you look up the income tax, the federal income tax bracket percentages?
We have this collective security treaty. Is that what you want to? Income tax of what? Bracket.
Federal income tax bracket. So that way we can see how much.
Like an actual image.
So the idea of this bill that's going to be proposed and put on the floor is it's going to be sent out by the Republicans. It's going to get rid of the income tax completely. The income tax will be gone. But in its place, a consumption tax will be put in place.
It should be up there.
Which is that correct? Which is a good idea. Yes, which is a good idea in theory because your salary will be your salary outside of your state income tax.
Right.
However, the percent that they want to put up is 30%. So across the board, the consumption tax would be across the board. Any and all products that exist, any services or products or things bought will have a 30% increase. Now, looking at these percentages right now, the average person makes about 45 to about 60K, realistically between 45 and 55K. So around that bracket, you are getting taxed 22%, 22%, right?
Okay.
Now for 30%, we're looking at 32 right here, 32%. $160,000 to $204,000 is what you would need to make to be taxed 32% currently under.
And that's like the median
income.
when you say in like most of America. Maybe
most
in this area?
of America's in 22%.
Okay.
Now this proposed bill is income tax will be gone, but a consumption tax will be spread across the board, any and all services and products born at 30%. So if you look here right now to get taxed 30%, you need $160,000 to $200,000.
Wow.
Now the idea of this consumption tax is that people won't spend as much, but realistically, it's not going to stop the rich from being able to spend. What it's going to do is it's going to make people have to choose what they need and what they want in order to survive. And I feel like that'll affect the market incredibly negatively because, average groceries are expensive. They're expensive right now. 30% isn't going to hurt too much. I can adjust to that if I was actually making my full salary minus federal income tax.
But let's say I want a brand new car.
That
I
is
want to
nuts.
buy a house. 30%. I looked it up. 30% on $26,000. That's the cost. That's the market Blue Book value pre-state tax and current federal tax for a Subaru Crosstrek 2023.
Jesus Christ.
That's $26,000.
And like Subarus are like, I mean, but I think there are
is-
some cars that I would go that far
and thi-
because
and
they're
this-
they're good quality. I
and
mean,
this
if you
is-
know the car.
Yeah, and this is very
And you can
affordable.
just buy them on a vending
This-
machine. They have vending machine
Yes.
cars now. What's that CarMax? What is it? It's a you
Carvana.
really go on
Carvana,
yeah, you go
Car Guru,
online
there's
and you go
another
on an
one.
app and you just pick it and it like
Um,
delivers to your house and people hate
so-
that. That's like the new unboxing videos. People
Yeah.
share videos of their car being delivered, but it's like they didn't go crazy on the price. They just had it. You probably pay for it to be delivered.
Yeah.
I'm sure because you could just still go. I don't know. Maybe you can't go get it. I think it does have to be delivered. So
It
that
does.
means you
It is-
wouldn't
it is
pay for
delivered.
that
You don't
then.
pay for that.
It would be
But-
included in.
But anyways, like so 30% across the board. That $26,000 like car, which is an affordable cost for a car right now, especially if you're looking for a crossover, some sort of SUV. That's a great price for an SUV.
Yeah.
$26,000 with an added 30% brings that car's new total to $33,000.
Especially if it's a car you want and you know what the
So-
fuck you're buying.
so
You know what I mean? Maybe it'll make
30%.
people smarter about buying stuff. Not saving money, but maybe
I
being
mean,
smarter
that goes
about
for
it.
a
And that's
family
fine. Why
maybe
is that,
buying
you know?
car to now maybe
Yeah.
that's out of their price range.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's immediately out of your price range.
Yeah.
$33,000, and that's not including your state taxes. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? That's not including. I mean, I'm just gonna flat out say you go to a car dealership, if you don't know exactly what you're fucking doing, you're gonna get fucked one way or
You're
another.
gonna
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
It's just
happens.
about being
Yeah.
smarter. And we've
So-
always been able to adapt prices.
But
I
that's
mean,
just like,
and that's just with our
the-
gas. I mean, our gas was like went down $2 in the past few
Yeah,
months.
man.
Yeah,
What a heck
but
will
it
do.
shot up like $3.50 before it had the drop.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They did it before after Thanksgiving. They do it after
Something like
Thanksgiving.
that.
Yeah.
But like just
Before?
that just fucks over most. That basically keeps us in a renting economy. That keeps us in a debt economy.
Everyone I know is gonna sell their house. Everyone, like everyone, a lot of people I know of in my age bracket have sold their house or bought a house. And my cousin was very smart. She bought her house 2014, 13. I think Matthew and I were maybe married at that time, but I remember they bought the house. They did the whole thing. Bought the
Yeah.
house. You know, got
They
married, bought the
didn't
house,
buy
had the
when
kid.
things
They did it right.
sucked
They did it
like
on
I
time.
did.
But like they'll be fine
Yeah.
because they did it early. But I know my friends now that have done
so
it, they're gonna be selling it in a year.
Do
I guarantee you.
Do you guys know how to turn yourself into a bank?
No.
Okay.
Into a what?
Into a bank.
No,
Into your own bank.
no. I'm gonna put Jimmy's
So
tricks on being a bank.
So this is like literally how you become a bank. You can look up this information. Don't just take me at word. Feel free to look into this. So there's ways you can utilize trusts, living trusts, and whole life insurance policies. And what you do is you take out a whole life insurance policy. With a whole life insurance policy, you pay a way higher premium over term. So as opposed to like the $30 or $50 a month, based on your health conditions and your age, most people don't do this until well into their 80s or 90s. Doing this in your 30s
Yeah.
or early is one of the
And
smartest.
then they end up
fucking
getting
things you can do.
scammers, and the people tell them to go to Walmart and
So
get
what you do is you'll be putting in about $400, give or take, a month. And what it is, it's going to accumulate compound interest. Compound interest is interest earned on top of interest, which banks don't work like that. You get interest off of what you have in your account over a year period. Compound interest is the more you accumulate on top of that interest, the more you gain off the interest of the interest that was gained. So it's stacking upon stacking. And it's a good way to make money. And as you're putting money in, let's say you have a $250,000 policy, right? So you have a $250,000 policy for Megan. And when you die, she gets that money. And you pay into that money. Any money you pay into increases the amount in that insurance policy. So let's say you put in an additional like $5,000 over the course of like
2 years or something like that. So that $250,000 policy is now worth $250,000, $5,000. You know what I mean? And it's accumulating compound interest of all money put in, and you can get paid out in dividends.
Here we go. Now I'm in it.
So dividends, you get paid out in 3 ways. Dividends can go back to you in your pocket, cash in hand. It can roll back into your policy while you're paying your policy to increase your policy even more. As well as your dividends can take over your payments and you no longer pay into it and your dividends pays for your policy now. But what people don't understand is you can take out loans from your policy for yourselves to acquire assets. And if you continue to acquire assets like apartment buildings that you rent out, anything that you can make money off of, you are creating wealth because you pull that money out, 3/4 of the money that you've put into that's been earning compound interest. That's still continuing to earn compound interest regardless of what you pulled out of a loan. You've now used yourself as a bank. You borrowed money from yourself, from your policy. You didn't go to a bank. You didn't need to get approved. You took money from yourself.
Where were you when I bought that building on the west side?
Under the concept that you will
Yeah,
pay
Matthew would have
yourself
needed you
back.
for sure.
So this is how you turn yourself into a bank. Now, let's say you accumulate on. I met a woman at work, and I was telling her about certain things, and then I mentioned, "Do you have a whole life insurance policy?" And she was like, "Yeah, I got one when I was 21." And I'm like, "You're one of the smartest fucking human beings alive because you're 50-something years old. You've been accumulating money, and you took a physical exam when you were 21. You're paying $30 a month into that policy." Over the course of 28 years or some shit like that, 20 almost 30 years into that, not including dividends payout and compound interest earned. I straight out told her, I'm like, you're your own bank now. Right now, you can pull out money, you can buy a house, and then once you get that physical deed to that house or that rental property, that physical deed, you put that deed into a living trust. Now you don't own that house. The living trust owns that house.
Yeah, right.
A living trust cannot be taxed because it's an account, it's not a person.
Yeah.
It's an asset withholding document that you have access to. And let's say that house you bought for $150,000. After you bought it, you had it reappraised, and its reappraisal was set at $200,000. That $200,000 asset is now in a living trust. That living trust is now worth $200,000. You can pull out another loan from yourself that you do not need to be approved on from that living trust. That is tax-free because you're pulling from an account, a bank that's not a person, and you purchase another apartment building. You get the deed to that building, you put it in the living trust. You do this like 2 or 3 times. You may be in debt for $500,000 or $750,000.
Again, where were you before?
But you have.
Matthew would still be a landlord right now.
You
He would have 10 years
have-
of like collecting that shit.
Right now, you have like let's just say there's 3 units, and you've done this 5 times. So 3 times 5.
Yes.
You've got 15 units you're renting out. Those units are paying for their property tax back into your trust.
Yeah.
And any maintenance that needs to do, and they're all paying each other off back into the trust, back into the insurance policy.
It's insane.
So your debts, even though you're $750,000 in debt, you have money revenue stream coming in that are paying off your debts into your policies. You're not paying back a bank, you're paying back your compound interested contracts that are your banking system. You're borrowing money from yourself, you're putting money back into yourself. That's gaining compound interest that you can in turn continue to keep borrowing from because the assets you're putting back into them are money earning assets. Boom. This is how you turn yourself into a bank. And you can research this, you can look into this. I spent all of COVID looking into how to become a landlord. And I'm like, how the fuck?
mean, do you and Matthew want to be landlords together?
I'd be down.
I feel like he just needs to trust tenants that won't fuck him up.
So here's what you do.
You know what I mean?
I've got that figured out right now.
Yeah.
You buy.
Matthew and I could be the ones that like deal with like
you buy
like the
right?
improvement of the place and how it should be in the sanitation.
So
you could do the money part.
So you buy you buy these properties in and around anywhere near a college, your tenants are college students that their parents co-sign for, that they're not going to let their kids fuck up their credit.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If I co-sign for you as a child, you're not going to fuck up my credit. So that rent getting paid, you're either getting a job or getting money fucking bags. Is paying
Exactly.
for it. So you have reliable tenants. You have good area of in which you have these buildings. Anywhere, I mean, in Chicago, you know what I mean? Like if they go to UIC, you can have something in Bridgeport. You know, you got Loyola over here. You can own something around you over here. College kid's going to live a couple of stops away. You know what I mean? That's way better than, oh, I'm this many. So, well, now you're 4 stops away from your college. Oh, now you're a 15-minute bus ride away from your house.
That's some really
now,
some good insight there.
Now, here's the fucking kicker. So you go to a trust attorney to get a trust, not a living trust, a trust. And you put your insurance policy in that trust. And that trust goes to whoever. So let's say you're $750,000 in debt, you die. Your $250,000 policy still goes to Megan tax-free, and she owes no money back from the debt you accumulated because you borrowed it from yourself off of your policy. You are the only policy holder in the contract. You are dead. No one can absorb that because it's your bank. Your bank ceases to exist.
Working the system.
So
I had to get my Bluetooth headphones.
So
it's easier.
When you talk to a trust attorney, you put injuncture these things you have into that trust. So you are the beneficiary, which means you run the account. The beneficiary is the person that benefits off the account. So you set your policy to, okay, when I die, my money half of my assets are sold off immediately. All of that money is put into a trust for my grandchildren, but they cannot touch them until they're 21. All that money is tax-free, sent into a trust that's gaining compound interest for 21 years or plus if that child hasn't even been born yet. So she has $250,000 plus whatever you've accumulated in that policy. And you know that your grandchildren are set up when they're 21. You don't got to worry about her. You don't got to worry about your kids. You just create a generational wealth. So now it's 21 years later and your kids get that money. Now the smart thing to do is for them to do everything that you've done before. Get a living trust, put asset or property into it, get a whole life insurance policy to pull from to buy said assets. They take the money that they've earned from you, and they put half of it in their own trust for their own grandchildren. And then they buy generational wealth and put it into those policies and continue on and so forth. And if that cycle keeps happening, you end up like the Rothschilds who have been doing that since Mr.
That's what
Rothschild
they've been doing.
died. That is literally what they've been doing, and I recently was educated on this. I've been looking into how to turn yourself into a bank all during COVID, but then I saw this video on how the Rothschilds created generational wealth. And this is what they did is they set up for their kids and their grandchildren, and as it went down the line, they taught how to do it. So as more of them were born, more accounts were in, more insurance policies were in trusts, more assets were in living trusts, and more bank accounts were accumulating money over 2
That's how they're able to
decades.
get generational wealth.
Yep. And you are your own bank. So at that point in time, they don't need to go to a bank. They go to their trust attorney or the bank that's contracted to hold their trust or living trust and say, hey, I'm here to withdraw from my bank. I need $250,000 to buy this 6-flat building, which I'm going to in turn bring back to you with a deed.
We know people like that. We know people that exactly that.
And actually, I can respect that more than like, oh, we're just like trying to fit this narrative of like using people to get rich, because there's being rich and then there's being wealthy.
Well, see, and there's a lot of people.
Different.
A lot of people want maximum profits with minimal effort, and in the internet age, there are people that are like, oh, I can just do that, and it's like, yes, you can and you can't. Like any field that ever existed, there's a percent that succeeds, there's a percent
that remains relevant and continues to profit, and then there's the percent that like kind of scrounge or get what they can. It's like becoming a musician. I'm literally a damn dime a dozen. You could find a fucking guitarist anywhere at any fucking point in time. The odds of me becoming a famous musician are slim to absolute none. The odds of like blowing up on the internet, unless you're doing things that may degrade yourself for actual viewing, is going to be hard to find a niche where you're going to get a massive following where people are going to be like, okay, I can sustain myself off of just doing this. You know what I mean? There's things that I watch where I watch this guy eat hot peppers in hot pepper sauce and shit the bed sauce. And he's this nice British man. I love the way he says Ronin chili oil. It's adorable. It's super fucking cute. But like every time I'm watching it, I'm sitting there going like, why the fuck are you doing this yourself? Your stomach lining is gone. You shit blood. Like what's going on here? And that dude probably makes sustainable money. I guarantee it. But it's like, that's brutal that you have to do that to yourself. What about that autistic guy? And I love watching his videos, as terrible as it is, where he's really into wrestling and he fucking just elbow drops on things that hurt him. Have you seen this guy? It's like backyard wrestling. He always rips off his shirt and then he jumps on a microwave. Like he'll elbow drop a fucking microwave.
Wait, should we look it up?
And look it up. And it's like he's probably a sweet kid.
Not even just compressed wood or
what should I put it for the search?
He hurts himself so fucking bad, dude. But it's, you know, he does it, he degrades himself. I'm not going to not watch it because I'm a sick individual and I enjoy showing stuff. I'm sorry.
I can't say anything.
Okay, what should I look up?
I don't even know. Like, I don't even know. He would randomly come up in my TikTok feed.
I've been there with backyard
nice
wrestling.
Should I do wrestling guy like
wrestling guy jumps on microwave?
Okay, jumps.
The dude jumps on like elbow drops things that fucking you're like and then you see him like and you're like, oh my god, dude, are your ribs broken? Why do you do this all the time?
Okay, so you guys can have mats.
Because the people's
it's a little bit,
elbows, the people's
off,
elbow.
but
We're
you can also look
on
at this one too.
Frozen.
Did you find him? He's got
it
black
says flying
hair,
elbow
curly,
on microwave, jumping on 6-foot platform to
that
fridge.
might be him. If he rips his shirt off and he's got curly hair.
Flying elbow. Just keep saying flying elbow. Is that what he's called?
I mean, I guess. I would consider a flying elbow an elbow drop.
Oh, it's inappropriate for some.
Yeah, it's inappropriate. This dude is...
I understand.
Time for the people's elbow.
It's not going to have any sound, but we can look at it.
Yeah, it's this guy. Here, can we see it on this thing? He's gonna rip off his shirt. He's always said something gangster.
It's gonna zoom in.
Takes off his shirt and then watch this poor guy. Oh yeah, he punches himself in the head before he does it too. And he'll just launch into shit. And like some of the stuff, dude, the amount of pain he's in.
Oh, there's more of it,
bro.
He's in a compilation.
Bro, there's one where.
He looks small. Like he doesn't look that big.
He's a small dude. He's a small, average guy. And it's like if you want to degrade yourself at this level.
I love that they said it's inappropriate right away.
Yeah.
Like they had to do that with what's his face, Rob Dyrdek. They have to say like, hey, don't try to like do these and then send it to us. Like we want you to send. They'll take ones that people send, but they can't be homemade. They have to be someone else's.
I used to be part of a.
So I guess he kind of just does this. This is like his thing. It's like Jackass.
Yeah, literally. And like, bro, I've seen him jump on shit to where, you know, when you hit something and it hurts so bad that you cannot make any noise. Like your mouth is open, like you're screaming, and you're like in it, but you physically cannot produce a single sound. The amount of pain you're in.
Completely knocked the wind.
He looks small to me.
He is. He's a tiny average gentleman.
Is he my height? Is he 5 feet?
He doesn't work out.
He's got to be 5 feet though. He's just
I imagine
short.
he's some Midwestern kid that's just kicking his own ass.
Built of corn cobs and dirt.
I don't understand it.
So I do want to get to the Tate conversation because there's
speaking of
there's so
let me get him up here.
So much false information, and it blows my mind. I'm an avid follower of Andrew Tate,
I'm a huge fan. I've seen a lot of his chopped up videos that make him look bad, but
It's like we should look up some recent videos he's made. They're pretty bad.
So, but a lot of them are fake. The dude preaches from a religious view on old world ideas. A lot of people think he's misogynist, but that article I sent you is
Well,
really.
I like when he says like, I love like when a family can like have kids and like make it work, and then he's like, but if it's done right, if the woman obeys, I'm like, oh, that's where you lost me. That's where you lost me. And also they said that this guy is not. He doesn't live the way he preaches. Isn't it like a normal thing to practice what you preach?
No, but he does.
In any religion, like you, or any ideology, or like he owns casinos.
Yeah.
He fucking uses women to make him money, but then they're the reason he shits on them. Like he literally needs women to make him money, but then he shits on them. Like pick one side, man.
No. Here's the thing.
Pick one side.
What he actually preaches is like if you expect to get married and have a family, there's certain virtues that a man is looking
and that's
for.
fine, but it doesn't work for
Day,
everybody.
if you're gonna do these things, don't expect to be accepted by a man that's gonna
look at this guy's face.
Now that article I sent you.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know who this fucker was until they like started showing up on my YouTube, and I follow a lot of reputable. I don't follow drama tea channels. I follow like people who really want to talk about stuff. And he started showing up in my feed, and I'm like, who is this dude?
So his whole thing with women is a minute thing about what he actually does. He actually has, or did anyways, had online courses on teaching you how to make money, how to become your own private bank, what are good sales tactics, and things like this on ways to create generational wealth. And some of the things that I saw him speaking about, I was like, cool, I've already been researching this. Mm-hmm. But then he would say something, and I'm like, cool, now I'm going to start looking into that. And he gives out information, and the reason that he's being targeted is most of what he's talking about is fuck the government. They don't care about you. They want to control you. This is
but he's not living that way. He literally is living like the Matrix thing where and it's not the Matrix that you and I know of. It's like the one that was current. I understand. I understand his livelihood, but like, I just think that he said so many things that were so like beyond cringe. Like,
I mean,
where he's like, oh, I've done this. I grew up on my own. I did everything myself. No, but like someone helped you. Someone helped you.
He grew up. He's half black and British.
Have you ever heard him talk? He has a weirdest accent. It keeps changing. Like, it's like Boston and then like kind of UK and then like
he did live in the US for a while. He did live in the UK for a while. He moved to Romania. He went to Bali a lot. But that article I sent you specifically.
I didn't know he was a kickboxer or
he was
on Big Brother, any of that.
But look up that article I sent you because it was sent out by the New York Post, and it's riddled with inaccuracies, as well as at one point in time the article isn't even talking about Andrew Tate in any way, shape, or form. So it starts out with talking about students in a classroom liking Andrew Tate, and the teacher was like, oh, he's a sex trafficker, which is all alleged right now, and he's already been cleared of charges of sex trafficking. And currently right now, two of the 6 supposed victims have come out publicly and said on the news that they are not victims, that they were not coerced, and they're embarrassed publicly that they're being called victims. One of the other victims has been seen on camera that has approached Tate twice, that he has told he doesn't want to talk to her and he doesn't want to be with her, he doesn't want to associate with her. And he's got witnesses that have correlated and told their story, and she is one of the accused victims. And
she was that's why they're to investigate out of Romania, because there's people from the UK and from here.
But it's really crazy though. But it states that like a handful of students that they liked Andrew.
I'm gonna call him Tater Tot because you know what? I'm doing it.
The teacher was like, oh well, he's a rapist. How do you feel about him now? And at that point in time, the article goes from that brief moment of talking about Andrew Tate to the classroom turned into a rape debate. And then the article proceeds to go on about a small sect of kids saying that women are responsible for getting raped and the other half doing not. and it's like 3 paragraphs of this, and I'm like, this isn't an article about Andrew Tate. This is about an isolated incident where Andrew Tate is minutely mentioned by this certain environment, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense for it to be about Andrew Tate. Then it continues to go and states Andrew Tate, a self-proclaimed misogynist, which is Andrew Tate has never once said he's a self-proclaimed misogynist, and has said on several times that he is not a misogynist. Misogynist, by definition, is the disdain or hatred of women, which he does not hate them. He has stated several times that he believes that they should be cherished, they should be protected, they should be watched over. Now, his whole thing about the woman basically should be subservient to a man is basically...
It's just like a Christian ideology.
Well, no, see, he's Arabic. So
yeah,
in that Islamic idea, and even in Christianity, the way that the hierarchy works is the children belong to the mother belongs to the father belongs to God.
That's why women have to have men like escort them and stuff when they're out in public. And
but it's less.
But how much of it is just like men being men and you know what I mean? They're the ones that wrote the book.
But it's less the idea of you need to be subservient to me and do what I say.
But why?
No, I said less that.
Well, yeah, but like,
the idea of
it doesn't. That's not shooting anyone, but the man. And if it was the tables or turns, it'd be the same thing.
But
if women did that to men, it would still be shitty.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's still just a weird way of like treating someone.
But the logic,
like they want everyone like there's some mosques that don't let women in there, like to pray. It's like, but like if you're a Buddhist, you can literally go and pray anywhere. You don't have to go to the temple.
I'm not necessarily talking about the religion, how the religion is run.
No, I know.
The hierarchy of a family.
I'm just saying it still ties into like family dynamics too.
So
you know,
the way that necessarily works is it's not like the woman needs to do what I say. It's I've taken you into my family. It is my obligation to protect you, to look out for you, to care for you, to make sure you have what you need. So if you are an individual,
that's just like an instinct that men have in general, because it's a caveman. So, it goes all the way back to like when we were literally being created. Like we had to protect the female because they were smaller, and they were like, we have to protect the children. They're smaller than us. Like it makes sense.
But it's not the like you need to be subservient and do what I say. It's more the idea is like you're my wife.
Like trust me, I got you. I'm here to protect you.
Like, I'm like.
But it turned into something else, man. I know what you're saying.
Yes, but
it turned into something else, and it sucks.
If you look at domestic abuse incidences are an all-time high now than they were back in the 50s and 60s. And lesbian couples have one of the highest domestic abuse percentages out of any domestic abuse.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at Amber Heard. I mean, she's a good example.
So
she's literally like abused anyone in her path.
So I mean,
and anyone really liked her. You know,
essentially saying is that you're my wife. You shouldn't be going out to clubs, and you shouldn't be going with your friends to go and get drunk in unsafe environments. And honestly, I was raised on these same values. I will say right now, my great grandmother used to boast at family functions on how many side bitches my great grandfather could get.
Side bitches.
Straight up. She would be like, your great grandfather, who I was named after, he was a womanizer, but he always came home, he always took care of his family. She didn't care. And my other grandmother.
How many side hoes you got, Grandpa?
My other grandma, like straight up, my grandfather had a child with her sister. My grandma never talked to that sister again.
Wow. But isn't that like how your family is, though, man?
And she allowed that child to family functions.
Yeah, they're kind of like that, too.
Punish that. And she stayed with my grandfather.
On his mom's side, it's something with like the boys and the girls, like your great-great-great-grandma only preferred. Like they spoiled the boys and then they treated the girls like shit, which is, I mean, happens.
Well, no. So the idea is like, you need to safeguard women in the sense that they can and will be taken advantage of. And I'm not saying that women are weak in some sense. It's just that young women could be prey. Now, it's not a super high percent, but I mean, in general, it does happen. Bad shit happens.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like animals do that. Animals do it too. So how are we different?
So women do have a value pretty much from 18. Because a woman can get things that essentially a man can. And it's actually been proven that like men don't actually have value until they're in and around.
I mean, look at
their
birds.
30s.
Look at birds.
No,
like when they
Exactly.
Definitely. They used to say 25, but it's much later.
Exactly, and the
look at like birds. Like when they build a nest, or they like dance, or they like
yeah,
like they're
And it's-
and they're the ones
you're-
with color on
exactly,
them,
you're
and
trying
like
to attract a mate,
and then like or like lions have like babies,
Exactly.
and then there's like bye, like or they kill a baby because it's
Right.
not theirs. Like we're not that much
no,
different.
we're not.
But they know what their
Yes.
value. They're born a lion. They're a lion for the rest of their life.
Yes.
They know what they're supposed to do.
And
We don't
Well,
all
well,
the
but
time.
see, the
So
way
that's
that
why
we
it's weird.
operate
We only
is
know
that
what we absorb.
the woman is set to go at a value by 18. A man has to earn his value. So that's his ruffling feathers. That's his paint. You know what I mean? That's from 18 to 30. Hey, I need a good career. I need a good car. I need to show that I can be reliable, that I can be dependable, that I can take care of a human being. And it's once you hit that bracket, that's when you can realistically be seen by a certain amount of women. And it's hard to find a mate. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, but what is it? 40% of men are virgins or haven't had sex in the last
like
year.
incels,
Right
yeah.
now, like
But I guess you're
but
only an
that's
incel if
40%.
you
You're
blame
saying-
the woman for it.
Oh,
Not
I
the
guarantee
incel,
not just under 0.5% of men. I'm just saying 40%. That's a high. And in general,
Is it like by choice or just because?
no,
it's just how it is.
That's because of how the dating market is. So the
Yeah.
dating market that
Which
used to-
everything's online now. so
exactly
yeah.
the dating market that
You
used
can't-
to
I
exist
mean,
when we were younger is you could physically.
I'd say
meet
a lot
someone.
of my most cherished friendships in the last like 8-9 years have been just in
Exactly.
person. Like because
Um,
you just like they're, especially if it's an environment where people can be
But,
let
yeah.
go and stuff and be free or whatever. But like if you meet someone online, it's like you don't know they're gonna lie a little bit.
but that's
they're
how
going
it is
to.
now,
It's
because
just how it is.
if all right, let's say you're an
It's like a job
18-year-old,
interview.
you're an 18-year-old ready to go, ready to have fun, ready to experience life, and you can talk to a millionaire from Miami who's going to fly you out there and throw you on his yacht. You know what I mean? The average woman's going to be like, oh, hell fucking yeah. So your dating pool in Chicago is now dead because that girl can talk to someone in Miami. She can talk to someone in New York. She can talk to someone in Dallas. She can
But
talk to
also
someone in
like
California.
I would just, okay, here's my advice to like the young girls because I work with them now. So I see kind of, and I have younger cousins, and I think it's based on like knowing their family dynamic and how they were raised, knowing why they ended up how they are, which is in my mind, it doesn't even matter what I think, but
Yeah.
they developed into amazing humans. Like they figured it out on their own. But like also the girls that I work with now, because I work at a new place where I'm with people that are younger, and that's gonna happen because
Yeah.
I'm 36. There's not many jobs out here that people have my age that are like me. I'm very unique. I'm an artist. I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to figure my shit out, but I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so working with younger kids or younger women, I'm just like, wow, like they got it. They figured it out. But they're also letting themselves be who they are and still grow. And that's kind of what the younger generation should be doing. Now they're not focusing on the dating or the hookups or any like things that I think our generation wanted.
I mean, but that
because they're focused on saving the fucking world,
Well,
like
see,
and actually doing it,
but
like
the-
actually doing
but
it.
the
And the older
studies-
people they fucking hate it.
the studies
They
of
fucking hate
that
it.
studies of that have shown that women are more unhappier than they have ever been,
Yeah.
and more are unhappy.
I mean, wouldn't
because
that be
they're
that
childless and
they
single.
would need to get laid? They
By-
should get laid, but they can't
by
sometimes because there's so many
Oh,
bigger things to worry
I mean, women could realistically just like walk up to any dude and say, "Do you want to?"
We could just
I
not even. We could
guarantee-
just stay home and do it ourselves. There's plenty of things you could buy.
Well, and see,
for your own
and
body.
that's the thing with women having that option.
We could
and
be that
controlling
creepy
who has
girl on the
sex.
train and just masturbate. No one would see us.
That's why
Like we figured it out.
40% of men are single, alone, depressed, virgins.
They're like, I
haven't
can't
had sex with
masturbate on the
once.
train anymore.
You know what I mean?
Dear diary, I can't
And then-
masturbate on
and
the
then-
train yet
What is
anymore.
it? In the year 2030, they propose that 40% of all women, or 40% of women, will be single, childless, and depressed. They show correlations of women in their later years being depressed, and there's something called passport bros that are emerging now.
I'm gonna look
These
this
are-
up. Let's look it up, man.
Yeah, start looking these things up.
All right.
Passport Bros.
What should I do for like the actual buzzwords though?
So
women in dating today.
Look up the statistic.
Sounds like a website.
The statistic of single childless women by 2030, and I guarantee it'll show you that percentage. There's a new thing emerging called Passport Bros, and it's dudes who are sick of the dating market in the Western world,
are happier.
The UK and the US, and what they're doing is they're getting passports and they're going to Colombia, Taiwan, and the Philippines, and they're marrying foreign.
This
women.
was by 2018. Can I share that, or do you want something current?
I mean, if you have something more current.
Okay, let me see.
And they're getting married. The Philippines is showing the highest success rate, and that's because these areas, these women are being brought up with way more religious-backed traditional values.
And, sure.
Yeah. It's basically called interesting voluntarily childlessness. So you're voluntarily being childless.
But yeah, that's
not just like, oh, it's circumstance. Maybe you're barren, or maybe you have money for. It's just like you're literally. No, I'm just letting the listeners know like that's not what it means. Yeah, it means just more about like it says
choosing a career over.
And this is for 2022, so we'll do that because that's a little bit more current. Yeah, and absolutely. I don't know if they've done any. They'll have to wait another year, I think.
But yeah, no, that's why I'm going to the Philippines. I have become a passport bro in the sense that I have been talking to a girl from the Philippines for about a year, and she has the same core family values that I grew up with my family.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like a whole thing emerging, and that's why there's a lot more single women, and it's actually impacting the Black community more than anywhere else. Because
so here's
are really attracted to Black men.
It says the top 10. I'm gonna use the washroom, but this is the top 10 voluntarily.
Okay.
So you can read those if you want.
Well, just when you come back, we'll do it, and I'll just
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Other things.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but yeah, but
that makes sense. I mean, just because you're halfway across the globe, it doesn't mean they have not grown up the same. I
exactly.
Mean, people have.
And we were saying the same education value as the Philippines here. In fact, the Philippines have the highest success rate out of any foreign marriage for the U.S. On top of that, they're three major languages. They have three in their country.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Spanish, Tagalog, and English.
Okay.
I actually considered moving there because you can move there as an American citizen and get a remote American job while you're there. And if you make $12,000 a year, you will live like a fucking king.
Yes.
And that is a high grossing pay job in the Philippines. And I considered doing that because I follow a couple of people that are like, I straight up just live in the Philippines. They're like, this is how much it costs to live. This is what I do. I have a remote American job. I make a minimum wage. And my dollar goes extremely further. My food is more organic.
I have a colleague that is exactly what he's about ready to do. He already owns property over there.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to pretty much just like say, yep, adios.
And that's kind of almost what I want to do right now. I like making my money where I make. I wish that my company had a branch there. But I mean, unfortunately, I don't qualify for a lot of the remote jobs there. A lot of it is manufacturing, assembly, factory, and warehouse work. And unfortunately, I've had the first world life of being a server. You know what I mean? So
I'm creative.
Well, I'm creative, but I know people. You couldn't really put me at a computer and be like, we need you to tally up this inventory. I would be like, cool, your warehouse is going to be fucked and people are going to die. Like,
you can do you can do inventory.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. So let's read off this list of top 10s. I guess.
It says voluntary.
Voluntary.
It's weird. It's a weird thing to say. Like, there's so many new like things happening with like society that they're like changing a definition. I mean, it makes sense.
Voluntary makes sense because women decide.
But instead of saying, I'm just saying in the terms of like instead of homeless, you say unhoused. You know, like you kind of change it.
I've definitely never.
And it's a little bit more of a. It's more of a.
Is it wrong?
An awareness of like what, because you can be unhoused and not be like poor. You know what I mean? Like you just maybe you're down your luck for the night or something. And I've met a lot of people that were like that. They were like, hey. Like I need to say, like this one guy, he got like a fine or something. He got robbed, but he was like kind of trying to catch a train from here to like Indiana, I think. And someone robbed him, and then he had to go like report it, obviously, and not really going here. Imagine being in a city you don't know very well, and you get robbed, and then you have to go to the so like the police officers were like, well, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I'm just like kind of trying to figure out how to get back. And so it was a whole thing. And they gave him all this paperwork. And he's like, I just had all this shit piled on me. And it just didn't make sense. All I wanted was just to get my shit back and stay somewhere for the night. And it got later and later and later. And I was walking out of, I don't know if I was walking out of Swig or something. I was like in Wicker Park, and I was like, I'm sorry, man. Like, and I'm like on a buzz. I'm like hanging out with my friends. I'm like totally taking advantage of the day or the night. And this guy's down on his luck. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I should keep standing here. Like,
Was he an Indian dude from Texas?
No, he's just a white guy.
Okay.
But like, I felt so bad because he hadn't done. At first I thought he was just trying to ask me for money, but he was literally trying to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm naming all these shelters, and then my friend walks out and hears us, and she's like, oh, some of those places won't take him because he's not from here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, no, he has to be from Illinois. And I'm like, it's a shelter though. Like, he has ID. He at least has his ID on him, and that's why they were gonna be able to get his shit back. But the cops don't fucking care.
No, they don't.
And like, he had stuff on him. It was a backpack. Like he's like, I've done this before. I traveled, and he was just I was gonna give him some money just for the train, but then he would have went all the way home with like half of his shit. I don't know. I gave him a 20. I'm like, just take the metro. Like, just wait it out another hour. You can go to the Dunkin' down the street, and like they'll let you stay in there. Like, it's just, he wasn't homeless. He was unhoused, So that's what this is like. Voluntarily choosing not to have kids is different than like,
that makes sense.
So it says 70% of Caucasian women are childless by choice. The childlessness rates among women in their 40s are highest in Spain with 21.6% and the lowest in Turkey with 4.5%. Which I don't really know those areas or their culture that well to know if those are accurate statistics.
Turkey definitely has Islamics, but they also have Christians. It's kind of like a mixed bag of beliefs.
Constantinople!
Yeah. The Ottomans.
The Ottomans.
Okay.
You would say before, maybe going back before the Bible got changed as much as it did. I mean, as close to the original as you can
Well, that's
get.
what I'm saying. Isn't gender and lifestyle dynamics are tied to some book that some guy wrote?
Yeah.
Like, they just are. I'm just
See, and that's why
you don't see Buddhists writing books. You know what I mean? They're just like, just follow me and like look at what I'm doing. And then do the same thing.
But their teachings are in books. That's how you learn their teachings.
Well, they're in books, but it's more like inner stuff. It's not like a story of this other guy with this life. But then you can just be you know what I mean? Like, you can learn, you can be like, oh, I could always be Abraham. That would suck.
Well, no,
like, it makes your life a little bit better, and you want to live better, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the idea of the Old Testament, New Testament is they're more fables to
guide
your life of instances.
They're like Telltale. I mean,
whereas like Buddhist, Buddhist teachings are more like
inside.
I'm going to say something, and then like you reflect,
and you have to reflect
like,
however it takes you to reflect.
You know what I mean? Like,
Buddhism.
It's
You may never reach anywhere. It's just whatever your journey is. Your waves on the sand. Like, Christians and Catholics like to think there's more after, which in Buddhism there is afterlife, there is reincarnation, but there's a point at which your current soul does die.
Right,
and you don't get to choose to have that
next life. I'm just
going to
throw this out there because I'm a little drunk and so I just thought of this now. What if reincarnation isn't necessarily reincarnation?
It's not. It's just continuing another soul.
No. Instead of being reborn into the existing world, you're reborn into a parallel universe. So you're maybe still you, or maybe you're another creature, but you're you're you. Yeah, but it's a parallel universe, so it could be a different time period. It could be a different social structure. Like the multiple Earth theory, kind of. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Like. So you die and you're reborn, but you're not reborn here. You're reborn in this junctioning world. Yeah. I mean, look at Mars. Mars was a physical planet that looked like ours. So why not? I mean, like, it's still Earth or whatever, but like a different Earth, like. Because it could be an Earth we haven't colonized yet. But time is
it could be literally Earth without people too.
Right.
or just those beings, I guess.
Like you're born into
and
a
maybe,
world.
or that's what I think Avatar
Multiplicity.
was. I always thought Avatar was the opposite. Like I always thought the humans were in the Matrix and the avatars weren't. Like I always thought the avatars were the real.
Yeah.
Like Wakanda, if you think of it the other way of like Wakanda, what if Wakanda was real and the rest of the world was fucked up? Like what if Wakanda figured it out? But the only difference is that they're all black. I know Avatar is all the same creatures, but they still travel in the second one. They still travel to the ocean and meet new avatars. So there's the third and fourth ones are gonna be more tribes of they have to be. It doesn't make sense that they would stop at 2. They have to like discover more avatars of different parts of the world, like maybe ones that are desert ones.
Well, yes,
or like,
no, it could be evolution,
or maybe they just
the
join in together and they, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to see what James Cameron.
I've never actually seen
man. So it says, okay, so it says.
I don't remember the first one.
I saw the first 10 minutes.
It says childless couple statistics in the UK reveal that 20% of British women in their 40s are child-free. It seems like a lot of the connecting factors is that they're 40, but I mean, you can also have kids at over 40. It says in Britain, about 90% of people belonging to the LGBTQ community do not have kids, which here it's different because one of my cousins is a good example. They are with their partner and they co-adopt or co-take care of another couple. I don't know if they're romantically involved, but they are like co-families with them. Like they are not just like babysitting the kids, or like if something happens, they're the next, and they're all there, and they live here in America.
There's
it's like
actually a structure in
I wonder why that is in the UK.
I think, somewhere in the Deutsch Germanic area.
And it says people.
It says people. A type of long home. And I believe it's like 10 families cohabitate in this large, modernized long home.
I mean, didn't they say it takes a village to raise a child? There you go.
Yeah, and they work on those.
Real.
It's not like the old Nordic long homes, but it's like a modernized version. So they all have their own rooms, but they're also in junction with each other. They share like a kitchen and a mass bathroom and a play area, and everyone watches for the kids. The men. I mean, that's how Amish think about it. We're also going back. The men collectively do their things to provide and do all that.
I mean, we're going back to I guess we could circle back to what you were saying about how evolution has made men protectors and all of that, whatever. Yeah. But also the men have some form of protecting the children and teaching them.
Yeah.
And that's where the Vikings, I will always say hands down, are probably the best way to learn how to be a human.
Yeah.
Because they respect, they appreciate, and then they also teach, and then they kind of fight a little bit, but they're always going to be there for each other.
Exactly. And
or they can go against each other. I mean, it's just how it is.
And that's why I really want to talk about this Andrew Tate thing, because being an avid follower of these articles that are coming out, and this one specifically that I read, and by the way, has no cited sources at the end. It does also state at the end. It does state at the end that something about him being a self-proclaimed misogynist and stating that all his well-known and highly viewed "Women Belong in Kitchens" video is blah 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 proof of something or whatever. So I actually went on Google and I typed in Andrew Tate stating "Women Belong in the Kitchen," and I found 10 videos that started out with that. And I clicked on every video. I clicked on 3. Let's be realistic. I saw 10. I clicked on 3. I clicked on 3. And then because the other ones kind of either were chopped videos or compilations or something like that. And I'm that's obviously not that's not a tangible video. So I clicked on the 3 that said that were direct videos. And at no point in time in any of those videos did he say women belong.
Okay, so it says, this one's a good one.
He did talk about the family structure in one of them, and he did talk about what you would do if a woman attacked you with a machete and ways to defend yourself, which obviously out of context just sounds like domestic abuse. But it starts out with if she's coming at you with a machete.
Yeah.
So here's a good one. It says 54% of poll respondents think parents should go on vacation without their kids on special occasions.
That makes sense.
Did any of it, Matthew, we'll go with you first. Did your parents ever leave you on a vacation without you? Or did you always, if you ever went on any, was it always family all the time?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Do it.
So we're about to eat the sandwich from Kathy D's, just kind of inside.
I'm gonna show
this
it.
Is, Kathy D's in Bridgeport. This is an Italian sub. I got extra tomatoes and extra sauce because I love extra
You can
sauce.
hold it closer to the camera if you want. Like,
There you
really,
go.
there you
Kathy
go. Let's see the
D's.
insides of it. Get in there, Matthew. Get in there.
Please Google map it and show the people Kathy D's so they can go to this place because it is a great Sammy. Cheers.
Cheers.
Do it.
Very
Nom,
proud.
nom, 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 nom. I should have gotten my crystal hot sauce. Should we put the crystal hot sauce?
Actually,
I love that episode, man. I'm gonna link that
Would you like some
video in
jardinere?
here.
Ah,
do you have a fork?
I'll get one. I'm gonna link that video though when you guys tried the hot sauce.
You should also link in Kathy D's so people. It's really tasty, right?
Very good.
It's a good sandwich. So this is more mild. They make that in house. This is from a jar. They told me it was spicier. I don't know if you love spicy. I love spicy. I literally went in and I was like, hey. They're like, do you want hotter? I was like, do you have any like hot? And they're like, this one might be good. Oh, thank you. So again, Kathy D's. Check this place out. It's in Bridgeport.
Check it
It's
out.
amazing.
This is
Super tasty.
Matthew and you.
This is their homemade jardinere. This is their jarred jardinere that's made and they sell. If you don't know what jardinere is, it's basically Italian for the word garden, and it is peppers and vegetables in hot oil, and it's fucking awesome.
it's amazing.
Do you like Matthew likes jardinere? He's a big jardinere guy.
That's a good spice.
Yeah.
This slide.
So, please show the people Kathy D's if you could,
Kathy D's. I'll get it for you. Kathy D's.
if you would like a nap.
Kathy
Oh, wait,
D's.
she gave us one.
I gave you guys one,
I
man.
know. I'm
Yeah,
really
we're
sorry.
fancy in this bitch, okay?
We're also gonna enjoy wrap snacks with this. This is
Wraps.
Nicki Minaj salt and vinegar truffle.
I think this is it, right? Wait.
Try one of these and tell me what you think.
These were spoke of very highly earlier.
Okay, so Kathy
It's
D's
a
is
super
like
mild truffle taste.
on the right here.
And then at the end, you get a little bit of that vinegar bitter, right?
You can definitely pick up on the truffle. Well, that's pretty good.
I got it on the right of you, Jimmy. Or my right of you, I guess.
That's Kathy D's. It's amazing. Please go there.
And then what chips are those?
These are wrap snacks. Nicki Minaj. I don't remember what rapper came out with wrap snacks, but various different rappers have their own chip brand. This is Nicki Minaj.
Are you serious?
Yeah, look up wrap snacks. Look up wrap snacks for the people.
Right.
I really can't right now. Raps it. This is why I miss you, because you just have the weirdest fucking knowledge. And
Dumbest shit that I look
but you
up.
also fucking know stuff. So I mean, I'm sorry. If Wednesday, if my cat is fucking begging right now, which I'm gonna show her, then you know it's good, because Wednesday has a very, very, very difficult palate that we've perfected the last 5 years.
I am impressed.
How do you like the jardinere? This one's not that spicy, but it has a really nice crisp flavor.
Yeah.
Right?
I appreciate both.
Right?
I put the
Flavor
link
time.
in there so people will know, and then wrap snacks. Let's see what wrap.
Oh yeah,
snacks.
let's look up wrap snacks.
It says that they have them on. I'm gonna go on the Walmart one because just to be funny.
Fair enough. I don't I don't remember which rapper owns the company, but different rappers have their own flavors.
Let's see.
With that rabbit snack on you.
Amazing.
Here they go. Okay, so there's Notorious B.I.G.
What flavor is that?
Jalapeno honey.
Ooh, I would eat that.
There's what's this one? Little Baby. I don't know why it's so small. The other ones are bigger. It's kind of weird. because he's big. This one's Little Baby. It's salt and vinegar, barbecue, onion, garlic, and more. What's the more part? I really like
different flavors.
Wait, what are munchos? Are munchos like munchies? What the fuck is munchos? That's weird.
I don't know.
Okay, so Little Baby, and then this one, Cardi B. This is the one you were talking about. Cheddar barbecue. That makes a lot of sense. She is kind of that.
She's cheddar barbecue.
Yeah, like I think that they have to make it.
Cheddar barbecue.
Cardi B is cheddar barbecue.
I'll put it in the comment. Cardi B is cheddar barbecue. And then let's see. Wrap. Let's see. This one says wrap snacks. Drizzle. Who the fuck is Drizzle?
He's a rapper.
Sweet chili lemon pepper.
That might be good.
What do you guys think, Matt? What do you think, Manny?
I do love sweet chili.
Matthew, and I know you guys both do this. You guys both do your dips. You like your dips. Matthew, what do you think of that combo?
It's intriguing, just like this is.
Okay.
Try it.
Yes.
And you guys have kind of finished. I mean, it's pretty much almost gone now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so like, if you need a little time to think about it, what would you guys, knowing each other or of each other and hanging out kind of in this setting, if someone came to you, a Hollywood exec or whoever the fuck he is, was like, hey bros, do you guys want to make a flavor together? What the fuck flavor would it be?
Like our combined flavor?
Yes.
Or a flavor we would eat?
And we will go over what your flavor would be individually. So let's start with Jimmy first.
Okay.
He can talk about what his individual flavor would be.
What my flavor
And then
would
Matthew
be.
can go. Yeah.
Flavor?
Because I want to see if we can combine them. I want to see if we can combine them.
This is what my well, if I say it, what if he comes up with something to accommodate? Should we write this down and be?
Yeah, maybe we
ballot?
should do that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we
get
should
some
make
paper.
this a secret ballot.
Let's make it fair.
Secret.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Let's do a democracy.
Let's vote on it.
Yeah, let's vote at it.
See.
I'm gonna take a notebook paper here.
Oh, a secret flavor.
Secrets. I mean, you never know, man. It could actually really This is how people become closer.
Yeah.
You know.
This is how they do it on the Newlywed Game.
Well, I remember I told you about in Seattle where they did the pheromone parties, so you wouldn't know who it was, but you would the smell.
That's how you get crazy answers like the backseat of a car. Oh.
Hey, Matthew.
Oh.
And I'll get you a pen.
What are we doing?
You're just gonna write down what your flavor would be.
Flavor of
It's a chip. Remember we watched on Letterkenny? We watched about what were the inferior chips, what were the superior chips, and why. And they had a whole town meeting on the show about what And I know it's silly, but I kind of took real seriousness to it because I was like, yeah, that seems right. Yeah, that seems right. So just write down what you think, Matthew.
A chip that I want.
A chip that you'd want to eat. Yeah. What would be your essence of a chip? What would be the flavor?
If I made a chip.
Yes. Or if you just made a chip, if you just wanted to see what it would be. I think you can do more about your personality, more about what you want. Because if it's about you, you'll want to eat it anyway, right?
Yeah.
He's like, that's too much.
Here you go.
The votes.
Kitty, you don't want spicy.
She's like, sure I do. I want anything you're eating right now, mister. What do you think of Wednesday, Jimmy? You like her?
I do. I like your cat.
Yeah, she likes you. You were petting her, and then she was like, no, oh, I like it though. You know what I mean? She was like, I don't know you. Oh, but you know how to pet. Because I think people that don't have cats don't really know what to do. And I don't know. Sometimes they're a little bit too soft or too rough, or they're like, I don't know what to do. And then the cat knows that. So they copy your feelings.
That was very good.
The boys.
Yeah.
Chip
sandwich.
Flavors.
That was a Sammy.
Yeah, you guys devoured that. It was gone. It's gone.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good.
All right. So we're gonna go with how I got it handed in the order of. So this one is Jimmy, and it's Thai chili, jalapeno, and cilantro.
Dang, boy.
Be a good chip, right?
That'd be a good chip there.
Right? You get the sweet, you get the spice, and then you get that that cilantro kind of.
Oh, especially those of us that love that cilantro. Ooh, boy.
Okay, and then this one's Matthew's. It's honey mustard barbecue.
Ooh.
I like that you signed it. I'm doing the Dutch angle, so it's showing your face with the.
I made some of that the other day.
I should have been in theater
Honey
instead of
mustard
band.
barbecue sounds really.
So that's what I'm saying. So what would you think of that combining? Would it be too sweet, knowing now what you guys like?
Pickle.
Maybe you'd have to add something like together, like that would maybe divide it a little bit. You have to have something that kind of like is layered, right? Like so, maybe something more salty, because you have barbecue. Matthew has honey mustard barbecue, and you have Thai chili. No, I think it would actually be fine together.
That would be good.
I don't think you'd have to add anything, because Jimmy's is more spicy and savory, and yours is more sweet.
Yeah.
You know, so
So
you
it'd
kind
just
of
be like a very tangy
he
sauce.
punches and you kind of soften it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
that's
that would
pretty
be,
nice.
I would eat that sauce.
I mean, the
Follow it.
guy's wearing
There you go.
suspenders and you're not, You know what I mean? Everyone's different. Styles. Matthew couldn't do that. Like it just isn't him. You know what I mean?
Sauce.
Totally could.
He couldn't now. If he could, he would do it by now. He would have tried it. I guarantee you. I'm trying to get him to wear like the bow ties, because he could do a bow tie for sure. He likes his beard too much.
How many businesses started based on something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best.
The reason
Do you know how many things that Jimmy and I have thought of together that I've not written down?
Right.
That we should be rich already? Like, really? So why cilantro? Why would you pick cilantro?
Because it's a nice palate cleanser.
Okay, and do you like cilantro with just these ones? Like, why would you pick? Would you want the Thai chili would stand out more, right?
I think they would both, like, if it was just jalapeno cilantro or just Thai chili cilantro, it would work. Both cultures, both Asian and Hispanic, use jalapenos, and then either way, you get that nice like overlaying spice with both of them. One of them gives you a sweet spice, one of them gives you a straight spice, but you'd still have that nice palate cleanser cilantro kind of like palate opening.
It's just more like
nasal
because it reminds you of like mint or like, you know, like basil or basil is basil's like that, yeah.
Kind of like a mint.
Well, because you have to muddle it, right, for it to like activate. It's
I
like one of
love
those things.
cilantro. I mean, I love.
Yeah, I love cilantro. I love just like chewing on the stems.
Oh,
Same.
God.
Same.
Give me just onion and some a little bit.
So Matthew, why would you pick honey mustard barbecue? Is it because you like those combinations, or does it have a? But does it have? Oh, you should. Okay, Matthew made like a shrimp sauce,
Ooh.
but it was spicy, but it was also sweet. And then he also made a cocktail sauce. And then he also made. What did you do with the other sauce? What was the other sauce you made? The honey mustard, right? But you added he's been going nuts with the horse.
Real honey.
Yeah.
Real mustard.
Yeah. He's
real
very proud of
barbecue.
it.
I love making like.
He's very proud of his dibs. I don't ever judge him because I'm
It's
like,
always about
wow.
the sauce.
And I ended up just combining, and we had waffle fries. We had waffle
It's always
fries.
about the sauce.
So the waffle fries like soaked everything up, you know. Yeah. He gave it to me like touching, and I don't care if my sauces touch. I don't care if my food touches. But like I know if Matt's giving me a plate with sauces like touching, that I'm gonna end up combining them at the end of the meal. And we had waffle fries that we just bought, like Matthew bought at Jewel, and so they were soaking everything in. You could just like turn them and like soak them and then eat them, and you're like, And then at the end of the by the end of the time I was eating, it was just one big sauce.
There was
pile.
a buffet. Of
Just a dip pile.
sauces.
I'm like, it's salty and it's it's sweet and spicy, and then you got salty and savory. I mean, why not, right? I mean, yeah. And honey barbecue, I feel like it's kind of a classic taste. It's like when people like the Doritos, where they like the Cool Ranch, like that's their thing.
Sure.
You know, like you
Sure.
never fail with it. But yeah, waffle fries, by the way, are the best for those.
Waffle fries are the best.
And I always forget they exist until I eat them.
They are,
I
right?
always forget they exist. I'm like, oh shit, we have waffle fries. Whoops. Like you don't eat as many, so you can save them. And
They're probably the worst for you. Maybe that's why, but they are the best. I mean,
Yeah,
How are they the worst for you?
Are literally the best.
How are they the worst? I didn't know that.
Well, waffle versus a stick.
Waffle versus a fry.
This is a.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna either take a break or shut it down. It's been
We
2
can
hours. So let's just take a break for now, and then we can regroup, and we'll talk about. We have more topics that we have
What
to go
topics
over.
do we
Yeah,
have?
boy.
I have one, but it's funny.
Wait,
So
what time is
it's only 9:30. So we'll be fine.
Do we need to kill it now?
No, I mean, it depends on what you want to do. What do you guys? How are you guys feeling?
I could probably stay till like 10.
Okay,
What time is it?
it's 9:30.
9:30.
So let's do your topic and then kill it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, what is this
Sometimes
topic?
I do. Well, sometimes I do like. So what Matt and I do is I usually go on Facebook on our Night Owl, and I'll like, put a meme up or I'll put a question up, and then our listeners will respond. And or now it's gotten to the point where now they, say things. So they'll post things on there and people will respond. So our community is kind of interacting with each other over the last year and a half, and it's kind of nice because it saves me a lot of time on content. Like we've stopped doing the edited videos. We just do the live streams, but Matthew and I have only done like the audio ones because we do a lot of screen sharing. And, this is probably the first time we've filmed anything like visual. Yeah. I mean, we've only just been doing audio, which is fine. Sometimes they can hear us better when you have graphics and stuff.
What is it?
Okay, so this is a question that I had. I'm not going to screen share it because I want to keep the person private, but it says singer with the most distinctive voice. So this is just like a comment that someone made on our page and people commented. So I could ask you guys first what you think, and then I can read some relevant comments about it.
It's so funny that you mentioned that too, because when I was talking to Cassie, girlfriend from the Philippines, she recently asked me who my favorite singer was. And I had a hard time answering her because I was, it's like, well, what genre are we talking about?
I'm gonna put can be any genre because then that way,
all right.
You can. I mean, might as well throw it up. Might as well make it fun.
I mean, I feel like I'm gonna say King Diamond.
Very unique.
He's a very unique vocalist.
Yes.
He can hit incredibly high octave ranges, incredibly low octave ranges. He's a trained operatic singer.
What's an operatic singer?
Like
scales and stuff?
No, like he's trained in being able to sing
like anything.
Opera.
Oh wow. Okay.
He's
okay.
Singer.
And that's like a different type of vibration. I feel like.
Yeah, he's got amazing voice control. Like he can go like super high pitch to like metal like Satan tone, not like death growls, but just
Satan. A guttural
but
the lowest.
Super guttural.
It's like a brown note or something like that.
Not like the brown.
Yeah.
But King Diamond, like he was in Merciful Fate. He was in Dark Horse before they got signed, and then he did a solo career, and he plays with some of the most talented guitarists ever. I actually got to see him in Indiana.
Wow. In Indiana of all places.
They were playing in Hammond.
Congratulations, Indiana. We mentioned you twice in this stream. Congratulations.
Yeah, right? They played in fact, that same weekend I went to that antique store was the same weekend with King Diamond.
Oh my God.
But he was touring with Merciful Fate, which he almost rarely ever does. And it was a great show in a casino.
Oh, really? Boy, they pulled that together. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. They played with who did they play with? They played with Reaper and who was the other band?
Do you guys have? Okay, I'm just gonna put.
Can't even remember. But they were all awesome.
What about you, Matthew? And I'm sure it's like it can be.
Unique voices, boy. I cannot think of his name, and I'm drawing a fucking big old brain fart. But I would say the lead singer from Coheed and Cambria.
You know what? Yeah.
Boy, he's got kind of a unique name too, but
that dude's got a very unique voice, and I also like how he's able to sing and play simultaneously and not match up on them, as well as everything being a conceptual concept album.
I overall love the band because they made a bunch of conceptual albums, obviously storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't all their albums a part of a saga of a comic?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
I like that answer.
Okay, so let me read a comment. Just so we can share here. Okay, so someone said Karen Carpenter, Olivia Newton-John, Helen Reddy, Phil Collins, Carly Simon, Willie Nelson, Elvis Presley, Cher, Roy Orbison, Aaron Neville, Tony Bennett, Vaughn Monroe, and Ella Fitzgerald. I don't know who Vaughn Monroe is or Ella Fitzgerald.
You know Ella Fitzgerald.
I mean, honestly, out of that, I don't want to be a snooty.
Gladys Knight,
Snooty, but if you're talking unique voices,
Anita Baker, Freddie Mercury,
Roy Orbison would have been.
John Denver.
Roy Orbison was a good.
John Denver, they
Would have been
said.
a good pick out of that. I don't know if the
Elton
people had
John,
unique voices. They had
Bob Dylan,
wonderful
obviously, because he can barely say a word.
He has a very
The only word that I know, the only song I know Bob Dylan like actually says words in is like the Tangled Up in Blue one, and I played that for Matthew. And like Matthew was exaggerating. I'm like, no, this is actually a song where he's saying words. Like like this is a story from his journal. Like he has to read it, you know. And then there's Bing Crosby, Barry White, Nat King Cole. People keep saying Janis Joplin, Neil Diamond. I would even say Celine Dion, Shakira, Beyonce.
I wouldn't say unique.
I mean,
well, no, distinctive. Like right away it's them. Like it's like an actor. You
somebody
would
like
know their
Geddy
voice.
Lee
Like if you watch an animated show, you would
100%
know.
know who Geddy Lee is.
Like it's almost like with
100%.
actors. Like if you watched an animated show, you could be like, oh, I kind of know who that would
a
be.
voice that you
And
would
then,
not think is a good singing.
Whitney
That's what I
Houston.
think
Whitney
of.
Houston.
I would definitely say Whitney Houston.
Yeah, see,
before
someone
I
said
handed above those others.
Joe Crocker, Rod Stewart.
Joe Crocker's amazing.
Rod Stewart is a horrible singer.
It doesn't matter if he's horrible. It's just about like if you know
It's
it
about
was
the
them.
unique.
It's that if you heard them in a second, you would know.
Yeah.
Tom Jones,
Yes.
Stevie Nicks,
Yes.
Patsy Cline,
Probably yes.
Andrea
Yes.
Bocelli,
I don't know
one of the most famous
Yes.
opera singers. His voice fills you with
Yes.
many emotions. I'm blessed to have seen
I
him
would
in
agree.
Italy.
I would
So that's-
agree.
yeah.
You know what? I would also throw Mike.
Frank
Patton in there.
Sinatra.
Yes.
Also,
There's no more.
let's say
Yes.
Michael Bublé because it's kind of like a trickle down.
Well, I mean, the same
diluted.
thing with Tony Bennett. Though.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tony Bennett, Barbara Streisand, Neil Diamond, Johnny Mathis,
That sounds like a detective.
Johnny Cash, Kanye Twitty, Johnny Cash,
You know,
Conway
Marvin
I
Gaye.
actually love Kanye Twitty.
Yes.
Because of Family Guy, I actually got into Conway
Did
Twitty.
you?
And that dude, like, I don't like country, but I love Western music. Singer, storyteller, old school Western music was kind of badass.
Growing up, one of my closest
Bobby
friends,
Womack?
that was his
Womack?
dad's
Bobby
favorite
Womack?
artist
Womack?
was Conway Twitty.
You should look up Conway Twitty
Yeah.
at some point in time. That dude put out
Luther
that
Vandross.
dude put out like 30
Yes.
fucking studio albums or some stupid shit
He's
between like the
very-
late 40s
very
and like the
prolific,
90s
yes.
or something.
Well,
Not
here
to
it
mention
says.
greatest hits and compilation.
It also says Marvin Gaye, Diane
I would
Warwick,
say Marvin Gaye has
Yeah.
Diane
greatest
Warwick,
yes.
Patti LaBelle, Luther Vandross,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson,
Probably,
Tupac, R. Kelly, Biggie, Gladys Knight,
Gladys Knight for sure.
Sam Cooke. But it's only if you like
Well,
know
no,
who.
because Sam
Not
Cooke
really, because you have
sounds
to know
like,
who Sam Cooke is first of all.
Sam Cooke sounds like that one of other three people that came
And
out at the
also
same
like
time as him.
it's like when Bruno Mars came out.
Sam
Like,
Cooke is like Michael McDonald.
mhm.
Like he's our
You
you know what I mean? Like that type of baritone soothing voice.
What are you talking about?
I would
Someone
say
said-
he's in that
someone
Rick
said
Astley
Tiny- someone
category.
Someone said Tiny Tim,
Yes. I mean, he's
Reba, Dolly, Kenny
Well,
Rogers,
Dolly's a boss bitch.
Kenny Rogers,
Oh my
Pavardi,
Pavardi. He's an Italian opera singer.
So now people are kind of saying the same thing like over and over. There's like obviously Adele, but like Adele sounds like Lana
Del Rey.
Del Rey.
Yeah,
like, they're the
100%.
same.
Man,
Like if Lana Del Rey wrote
basically-
Skyfall and sang it, it would be the same person.
Right? Yeah.
Like, okay, it's another white girl. Okay, I get it. Like whatever. Yeah, people are kind of saying the same thing. Matt Shaw.
Tom Waits would probably be
Yes,
very
I
interesting.
Dean
would- I
Martin.
would
Dean
agree.
Martin.
I love Dean Martin.
I like
love
Dean Martin.
more than Frank.
Yeah.
I do like him more than Frank, but that's because he was kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit more. Like Frank was like classic, here to stay. Like he's stuck in time.
Well, Dean Martin also
Dean
doubled
Martin
up as a
kinda-
stand-up comedian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He did other stuff,
music.
you know, like Frank's stuff probably wasn't funny. He probably was just dry. He was probably dry.
I don't know if this is fact, but I heard a rumor that Dean Martin actually didn't drink alcohol, and he would always have apple juice in his glass.
Interesting.
So
he didn't drink?
Yeah, he didn't drink at all, but anytime he had a glass, it would be like apple juice or
It's
something
sparkling
like
apple juice.
Something like that. Because
Christina Aguilera, I would know if she was singing.
I would 100% know.
I would definitely know.
Over Britney.
Yeah.
Emmylou Harris?
Yes.
That sounds
And who's Emmylou Harris?
Country western type folk singer.
Okay.
Darius Rucker
Nat
on
King
that
Cole. It said like singers in the 50s and 60s and 70s kind of was what you would know. Like modern, I think it's changed a little bit, but then like when they added auto-tune, they added like other shit, and like it filters through this like streaming service and then that one, and like your voice change, it compresses, it changes. Like a record's not gonna change. A record's a record. A record's a record. Depending on if you get it damaged, it's gonna be fucked up. It's gonna be fucked up. But like a record is always gonna sound like real because it was recorded onto it, and records are still a mystery to me. They still are. Like I just think that they're, but if you digitize a record, you have to go backwards. You have to turn everything up more.
Yeah.
And so you're also like turning up the sound and on the flaws, and then you may have to edit that. It's weird. It goes from analog to like digital. It's like analog to digital, and then like, what are you doing? How do you edit it to make it sound real still?
I went to my guitar tech to drop off some instruments and found out that he has a studio in his apartment, and he's actually going to be producing my industrial band's first album. And he has actual film. He does real recordings.
Really?
And then puts them into Pro Tools. So
I haven't used Pro Tools.
I straight up was like, I want you to produce my band. I was like, I feel like I've been giving you my guitar for 15 years to work on. I was like, you're a dope ass dude. You have all this shit I've always wanted to be recorded on analog.
That would be wicked. That's crazy. Somebody's still doing that. That's awesome.
But yeah, he's got 3 fucking film reels.
No shit. Boy, oh boy. Huh?
All right, guys. We're probably going
Is that the end of the night?
Yeah, we're probably going to call it a night.
Right.
This is the longest we've streamed, I think.
Well, we had so much has happened.
Yeah. We can't fit it all in. We would be doing 6 hours. I mean, we are on Twitch.
Yeah.
We're kind of pussies compared to the rest of people on Twitch. They're like, it's 2 hours. That's nothing. Like I take a shit longer than
Whopper.
I'm happy with the time. I got a
I think it's great.
Short stories.
I'm probably just gonna practice now. Wired.
Video games. I'm working out.
Blowing up.
All right, guys. Why don't you say your outros, and then I will play some music.
So thanks for joining us, I guess, for season 3 of the Not So Late Night live stream. We will be inconsistently posting videos. We might be back next Sunday. I have off then.
Hey now.
Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook.
It's on the ticker right there.
Follow us
on
on
the ticker.
YouTube.
Right there.
Follow us on Not So Late Night live stream /models.
On anything. Go to Pornhub. Yeah. We are not on Pornhub, but we are definitely on all the other channels.
No, we're on Pornhub.
Well, the Night Owl. The Night Owl is on everything except Pornhub. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Yeah.
IG.
IG, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll chop up some of these videos and post them on Instagram.
All right, guys.
But yeah, that's it. Please follow us. Please watch. Please see what's up.
Fucking yeah.